Fun day, y'all. What is going on? How are y'all doing? Y'all, I'm telling you, this thing with Nolan Wells has been going crazy. And y'all, they got me as number one on the right to sue. Hey, Real Eyes, how are you? Welcome. They got me as number one on the to sue list. Can y'all believe that? Is that unbelievable to y'all? I mean, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. Don't threaten me with a good time. That's all I'm saying, right? That is all I'm saying. Don't threaten me with a good time. Everybody can, exercise their right to say what they want to say, right? But don't threaten me with a good time. But y'all, it's crazy. Welcome in. Happy Sunday Fun Day, y'all. Um, Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. How are you doing? Realize Grand Rising, everyone have an amazing Sunday. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, y'all. So we're gonna get into it because I know all of my Umar peoples is probably gonna be up in the building because they want to see how I'm gonna react to this Umar and what he said. Some of the stuff he said was maybe valid or whatever, but y'all know how Umar for this 3 times is. But let's turn it around and let's see. He's on Art of Dialogue. Shout out to the Art of Dialogue. This is just a reaction and my reaction to what Umar for this 3 times has to say. So y'all, let's turn it around and let's get on into it, y'all.
Dr. Umar, happy to have you back, man. What you been up to, yo? It's been a while, yo, since I had you on the platform.
Yes, just taking care of business.
Let me back up some.
School, doing what I do, helping the parents with their children, raising their consciousness. The work never stops. The work never stops.
Yes, indeed, man. Had to bring you back on. The people, they've been asking me to bring you back on for the longest, man. So it was only right to bring you back on. There's so much I want to talk to you about, though, man. There's so much to get into that I want to get your take on. Nolan Wells, how do you feel about that situation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nolan Wells. Nolan Wells. When the case first broke, Art, I just kind of sat back because I knew the YouTubian struggle streamers were going to run with it. I knew the white liberals on YouTube were going to run with it. I knew the white racists on YouTube were going to run with it. And everybody in between. It hurts my heart for Sister Christine, Nolan's mother, to have to see so many people using her son's name and crisis and tragedy for clickbait. And that's one of the biggest reasons, Art, I kind of stood back. It almost reminded me.
Hold on, y'all. Let me pause this, right? Okay. So if you guys don't know, Nolan Wells' mother, Christine, they were making all kind of like fake like they Google bombed her. So they were going on there making all kinds of fake is that Vaseline or Crisco on that face? I realize. I think it's Crisco. I think it's some Crisco or maybe a little bit of lard, right? His face is a little shiny, but they try to Google bomb Christine Wells, which is Nolan Wells' mother, right? And y'all, some girl named something McQueen or something, I forget. I'm like, girl, if you don't sit down, you think that Nolan Wells' mom is supposed to take care of your stinky kitty cat issue? No, she cannot. So why are you leaving a nasty bomb comment over there on Google? Christine probably doesn't even know who you are. These people are sick and they are attacking Christine. They're attacking, Nolan Wells' mother, Nolan Wells' father. Like, they're mostly attacking Christine, though. But they're acting like Christine was a bad parent. No, she wasn't. Y'all are just mad. The white racists, because not all white people are racist. Let me clear that. But the white racists that are putting Christine under attack, they're just mad because she's a black educated woman. See, they thought that she was supposed to be from the hood. She was supposed to be gangster, ghetto, and all this other stuff. She speaks well. She is a nurse practitioner. She has an excellent job. They even lied, you guys, and said that Christine got her, she got fired. So she had to come out and make a video. No, I did not get fired. And matter of fact, the hospital where I'm employed at has been nothing but graceful and very helpful during this time. See, this is what the demons will try to do to distract you. And then there's this other girl, Sarah Fields, is over there trying to pull out that same situation. Hey, Jamil. Jamil says, salute, Queen. Smash the like button, everybody. Yes, smash the like button. Jamil, welcome in, welcome in. So, y'all, this situation right here, they are just trying to, like, throw her under the bus, but you can't throw her under the bus. She is a woman of class and a woman of a certain caliber. You cannot take that away from her. She speaks well. She got a good job, and I'm sure she does very well on her job. She says she loves everybody. She takes care of her patients like, she would take care of anybody else, So these people are just mad, and they're hotter than fish grease because Christine is not standing down. She is actually going harder, just like all of us. I mean, I made number 1 on the to-sue list, and do y'all think I care? No, I don't give a flying F. Let me just say that. So y'all, let's turn it around and let's continue listening to Umar.
Of the Freddie Gray police unaliving in Baltimore back during the Barack Obama era. When Freddie Gray lost his life to those police in Baltimore, everybody rushed to Baltimore. They did the same thing with Michael Brown in Ferguson. Not because they necessarily cared about the tragedy, but because they wanted to benefit personally from it. And so I stayed away from Ferguson, I stayed away from Baltimore, and I stayed away from the Nolan Wells situation for a while because I didn't want to look like so many other people who just jumped in to have something to say, to use that young man's loss of life for clickbait and views. Now that it's been over a month since he lost his life.
Jamil says surviving the racist MAGAs. Absolutely right, Jamil. Right, we're all surviving the racist MAGAs because they're not all white people and not all races are not all races, not all other ethnic backgrounds are racist, but they have a lot of white racists who are trying to take Christine down, trying to do all these bad things, while all she's asking is just for answers to how her son passed away. And now they're attacking her. Now, does that sound like signs of guilt to me, you guys? And then those Mississippi the corn children, the children of the Mississippi corn, y'all, they went back out there with Batum, the one that works on the magatation for the MAGAs. Yeah, the black slave. He's on the magatation slave trade right now. He went out to the Horn Island with these boys, the Mississippi children of the corn, and they were trying to holler, cry, and sling snot because everybody was saying, well, y'all ain't crying. So they went to go and try to make up a little, a fake, oh, we're going to investigate this. Oh, and now we got to cry because everybody's saying y'all not crying. Y'all not acting like y'all Nolan friends. So they had to go put on a little show and perpetrate a fraud. But y'all, let's continue listening to Umar for the next 3 times.
I think it's okay for me to speak now because everyone else has kind of given their opinion, their analysis, their synopsis, and their feeling on the situation, so I'm going to give mine.
Before he gets his synopsis, y'all, Real Eyes said something. Jamil says surviving the MAGAs, the racist MAGAs. Yes, absolutely. Then Real Eyes says lounge. You caught their attention. They big mad. Oh, they big mad. I done made number 1 on the to-sue list. Bring it on, baby. Don't threaten me with a good time. Just like you guys can sue, I can sue too, along with all those other people on the list. Now, what makes you think, because y'all got a lawyer, that we don't got lawyers? I'm sadly mistaken, and I'm sadly to report to you, but you guys are definitely wrong. I mean, just like with Kimberly. Y'all, Kimberly had to bring out her whole law degree on them. Then she had to pop out and show them jokers and them ninjas what she's all about. Y'all thought that Kimberly was just an old little white girl that was just over there looking like, like she's, country trailer park trash or something. And no, she's absolutely not. She's a very educated white woman who is speaking up for Nolan Wells and Kendrick Johnson. And I think, I'm not sure she spoke on Carmelo, but I know Kimberly has a degree. And she had to pop out and show them ninjas. And she's been going harder just like me. They got me #1 on the list. I told Kimber she can have the #1 slot. But either way it goes, somebody's going to be getting their rights read to them, whether it's me or whether it's Kimberly. But y'all know Kimberly is going hard in the paint, and so am I. That is just giving me fuel to ignite my justice for Nolan fire, right? Don't threaten me with a good time, right? It's going to be detrimental. Either Kimber goes first or I go first in the courtroom. I don't know, but y'all, let's continue. I'm not scared of them jokers.
First of all, Nolan Wells, Javon, and I want Javon to hear this, and I want any other black person who was on Devil Horns Island that day to hear this. And I want any black person who was celebrating the 4th of July to hear this. No black person, no black freedman, no black immigrant, no member of the black race at all should have been celebrating July 4th, 2026. No one should have been celebrating America's 250th solar
Thank you,
return.
Crazy
And
Red.
why? Because our ancestors were still enslaved on July 4th, 1776. So why are we on White Devil Horns Island anyway, celebrating George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton and all these other white supremacists and slave masters? Why are we even celebrating them anyway?
Oh, Umar Johnson is reading all the black people their rights. I mean, he said, why are we over there on Devil? Umar, for that 3 times, he even gave Horn Island a whole nother name. He said Devil Horn Island. Y'all, Umar, for the next 3 times, I can't say this is his bread and butter. Y'all know he does not like it when, you know, the white folks is trying to get over on the black folks. You know, this is his bread and butter, y'all. I'm surprised that he took all this time to answer and respond, because usually Umar, he is on top of the A game when it comes to this type of stuff, y'all. But y'all, let's continue. Let's listen to Umar for this 3 times.
Nolan shouldn't have been out there. Javon shouldn't have been out there. No black person should have been celebrating the 4th of July, period. We would be enslaved for almost another century after America got her independence. So what are we celebrating for? To celebrate the 4th of July as an African is to celebrate the enslavement of your ancestors and the freedom of your slave masters. It makes no sense. Now, with that being said, I'm not blaming Nolan in any way, shape, form, or fashion for his loss of life. I'm just simply saying he shouldn't have been out there. Now let's take a closer look at this, Art. According to what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, and what I've read, Nolan, Warren, Wyatt, and Traceman left for Horn Island the morning of July 4th. According to Warren's own words that he offered during an interview with Officer B.T. That's
Hold up, y'all. Art of dialogue. Excuse me, I'm drinking my morning breakfast juice, green juice. I got like pulp on my teeth. But y'all, Umar finessed 3 times. Y'all, he is about to read, you know, Tatum, the Magatation, you know, only slave on the plantation working Ucker. He's about to read him his rights. Y'all, let's listen, because he's about to read him his rights. The only Blacktation slave on the plantation, on the Magatation, he's the only one out there on the tation right now. So y'all, let's listen to what Umar is about to say. He's about to read him his rights, y'all. Let's listen, y'all.
U-N-E, as in K-H-E-W-N, as in K-U-H-N,
Get him, Umar.
as in C-O-W-N. So Warren did a sit down with Officer BT, and as we all know, BT is white YouTube's pet monkey.
I'm sorry, y'all. Umar said that the raccoon is YouTube's pet monkey. Y'all, is he the pet monkey that stole Christmas on the Magatation, the only slave working for the Magas? Oh my. Let's finish listening to Umar read him his rights, y'all. This is hilarious, y'all.
YouTube's pet monkey. So Warren sat down.
Hold on, let me rewind that. hilarious. He said that he is YouTube's pet monkey. Oh, alopecia.
Interview with Officer BT, that's known as in CUNE, known as in KHEWN, known as in KUHN, known as in COWN. So Warren did a sit down with Officer BT, and as we all know, BT is white YouTube's pet monkey. He's white YouTube's pet monkey. So Warren sat down
Oh my
for
God.
an interview.
Y'all smash the like button. Let's get the likes up, y'all. Let's push this out in the algorithm. This is Umar Johnson. He's on the Art of Dialogue. Shout out to Art of Dialogue. We are just doing a reaction to what Umar Johnson is saying in about the Nolan Wells case. But he is calling the magatation Tatum Batum. He's calling him YouTube's pet monkey. Y'all, let's continue.
With white YouTube's pet monkey. And he said that they left for Horns Island the morning of July the 4th, and that it was approximately 30 of them spread across 3 boats. Approximately 30 youth spread across 3 boats. They all went to Horn Island together. They arrived at approximately 11:30. So they left around 9-ish, 8, 9-ish, whatever the case may be. They left the morning of July 4th. They arrived on White Devil's Horn Island at about 11:30.
Wow.
So 3 boats, 30 youth, they went together. I'm not clear on whether the 3 boats came back together or not. That's another question that I have, Art. Did they come back?
And now let me turn it around. Now, what I didn't know is that Horn Island, that I believe it's like a 30-minute boat ride out to Horn Island, if I'm not mistaken. So that's like a good little ways. And for 3 boats with like probably 10 people, I guess maybe per boat, 30 people he's saying. Like, where's the other 30 people? Why haven't they came out and spoken? Why has it only been Warren? Why has it only been Trayston with his dirty clothes pants up there on Batum's podcast doing an interview, and filthy McNasty clothes looking like a whole bum that stole Christmas, looking dirty like he's running from the police, y'all. I mean, I just don't understand. There's no way I would interview anybody on my platform looking like they is running from the police. But y'all, let's continue.
Together the same way they left together, because I'm treating all 30 of those white youth and all 3 of those ships as crime scenes and as suspects. All 3 ships are potential crime scenes. All 3 boats are potential crime scenes, and all 30 youth are potential suspects. I don't know why Jackson County Sheriff Ledbetter or Jackson County District Attorney Mulrath, I don't know why they decided to separate the boat that Nolan was on. Warren's
Facts.
boat. I don't know why they separated that boat from the other 2 for purposes of investigation and analysis. Because those 3 boats operated as a team.
Facts.
And since they went out there as a team, and it hasn't been made clear to me whether or not they came back together as a team, all 30 white youth and all 3 boats should have been part of this investigation, not just the 1 boat. That is my first big issue with this case. Who decided to separate the other 2 boats and the other 20 or so youth? I got a problem with that, Art, because according to the Cajun Navy, they have no GPS information on the other 2 boats, Art. They have no GPS information on the other 2 boats. Now let's get into this. According to Warren and Nolan's other so-called white friends, they decided to leave the island around 4:30. So they were roughly on White Devil's Horn Island from 11:30 to 4:30. That is about 5 hours. Now,
Yo, let's smash the like button. this is where Umar is trying to basically, like, kind of draw, dots to try to trace back like when they went to Horn Island, what they were doing. But I also shout out to the original Queen Ahmadiyya Shakur channel. She kind of said and mentioned something really, really great, and y'all need to go and check her channel out. She said, what if this is a situation where it probably was an accident, right? But when Bart was hurt on the boat tow, maybe that's when the situation, of course, because they said, on the boat tow call, it says Nolan's dead, wake the F up, Nolan. Remember they were saying they were calling that out? But with them calling that out and saying that, does that mean that there was possibly just from the boat tow call, it was some type of accident? And the reason why whoever was on the boat tow call with the operator, she said, do you guys need the Coast Guard? And they said no. So if it's an accident or a situation, you're calling in a boat tow saying your boat is taking on water, why would you not want to have the Coast Guard or some help to come out to help you if you're sinking, right? If you're in 30 feet of water, hey, Drake's mustache, how you doing, nephew? Welcome. So if you are in that deep of water, would you not want the Coast Guard, anybody to come? I mean, if they had an ambulance that can drive on the water, police that can drive on the water, you will want somebody to come rescue you. So this is why I believe what Queen was saying was possibly true. Y'all smash the like button, get the likes up. I believe that that's maybe one of my thoughts, possibly, allegedly. Let the record reflect that this is my opinion and my opinion only, because y'all know they have me as #1 to be sued on the list. But do I care? Absolutely not. I don't give a flying F what number I am, and even if I made the list, I don't care. But anyway, this is my opinion. Let the record reflect. And this is Queen's words. I'm stealing your words, Queen. But anyway, this is my opinion, because remember Murdoch? Remember Alex Murdoch, he had a son that one of the sons went and got some alcohol from a liquor store using his mother's debit card or credit card and using his older brother's ID card. Well, come to find out, they were trying to cover it up. So then this is when Murdoch, I guess, unalived his wife and one of his sons, and then they try to cover it up. But at the end of the day, they did have to pay, I think, a $500,000 that Murdoch had to pay. And then they went and sued the store, the liquor store where the Alex Murdoch's son got the liquor from. And they sued that store for like a whole lot of money. So it was a lady that passed away in the situation. So I'm thinking what Queen was saying, maybe Queen is onto something. Maybe it was just an accident, possibly, where, because remember, what's his name? Bart's lawyer came out and said, well, he just went to go and, tow the boat, like pull the boat. So was it an accident, really, possibly, that led to Nolan Wells' death? I mean, that could possibly be a thing. This is just one of my theories. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to figure out what possibly, we all are trying to figure it out, right? Nephew says, laughing, LMAO, they want you and Jamil to so bad. I know they want us so bad, nephew. They want us so bad. I mean, they want us so bad. I mean, they can't even fathom how bad they want us. But I don't care. I don't give a flying F. I'm going to continue to say, just like they calling us in words, the black people. And I'm talking, this is for the racist white people. They haven't even, what's his name? The one that got arrested at Carmelo Anthony, he having a N walk with the hard R. He's having an N walk, and y'all want me to be quiet? Y'all want to put me #1 on the list? Well, baby, don't threaten me with a good time, okay? Hey, Bronze, good morning. How are you? Bronze says, hit the like button, everybody. Thank you, Bronze. Happy Sunday Funday. Don't threaten me with a good time, y'all racist white folks, because not all people are white people are racist. Not all white are white. Not all Indians are racist. Not all Mexicans are racist. But there are a lot of white people that are standing up for what's right. The way that they are treating us black folks, look at Kimberly. Look at Nancy Grace is even kind of standing in, y'all. We can't give Nancy Grace 100%, but at least she's given her thoughts and opinions and trying to get to the bottom of this as well. She even hired an engineer to go and redo that video, the boat tow video, and she came up with the same thing. The person she hired came up with the same thing that Janetta came up with when she decoded and enhanced those voices in the back. So they could be mad all they want to, and Nancy Grace at me, because I'm number one on the list, baby. And leave me number one. I will read them people they rights. When you have people out there having in with the hard R walks out there, and you trying to silence all of us. I mean, there's a lot of content creators. They got to be careful. You got to be careful what you ask for, because if you don't come send for us, we won't come send for you. So why you think that all of us cannot cannot or do not have lawyers? They may want to think again. Hey, Bougie Barbie, how are you? Welcome in. So y'all, let's continue watching Umar Finesse 3 time read the Batum, the Magatation, the only a black person on the Magatation tation. He is reading him his rights. So y'all, let's continue.
One question that has to be asked, Art, why did y'all leave so soon? Because they party on Horn Island all day long. Y'all didn't leave at sunset. Y'all didn't leave at sundown. Y'all left after only being there 5 hours. That's a little suspicious, Art. And I haven't heard anybody ask any of them, why did y'all decide to leave after only being there for 5 hours?
No. That's a good question, Umar Finesse 3 times. That's a good question. But my question is, they just went over there to the Horn Island on Friday, right? They all went back to that Umar's words, not mine, Devil's Horn Island back on Friday. And y'all, they were hollering, crying, and slinging snot. I don't think that interview has been released by Batum, the Magatation, YouTube's, Umar's words, not mine, Umar's words, not mine, the YouTube monkey that he said Batum is, and went and did a investigation. Then they said that they were crying, hollering, and slinging snot. Well, why weren't y'all hollering, crying, and slinging snot, y'all alleged children of the corn, of the Mississippi corn, that is? Why didn't you guys go right after and even invite Nolan's parents to go and try to figure out what happened? No, because you guys allegedly, they're saying that they went and cleaned up the boat, cleaned up all the evidence. They only went out there because everybody is reading them their rights. Ain't nobody crying. None of them boys is over there crying. What the waka flocka flame is going on over here? If your friend passed away that y'all were friends since elementary school, you would be over there crying, hollering, and slinging snot, and none of them were doing that. So they went on Friday to make a hollering, crying, and slinging snot video and try to act like they're trying to find out what happened to Nolan Wells when they already know what happened. In my opinion, let the record reflect, they already know what happened. But y'all, let's continue.
Plan to only be on White Devil's Horn Island for 5 hours? Why did y'all leave at that time? But we'll deal with that later. So then, let's listen to Javon, Nolan's other best friend. Now, another problem I got with this whole story, Art, is Nolan allegedly had too many best friends. I'm trying to find out, how does Nolan have so...
Y'all, we got 18 likes in the building, y'all. Let's take a few seconds. Everybody hit the like button. If you go up here on your right here, hit that button and then hit the come out and then hit the like button. Smash the like button, y'all. Let's continue. Let's get the likes up, y'all. Happy Sunday fun day, y'all.
Many best friends. And why did all of these so-called best friends leave their best friend on White Devil's Horn Island without his cell phone and keys? I'm trying to figure this out. So Javon claims he's Nolan's best friend. Warren claims he's Nolan's best friend. And Trayston allegedly claims that he's Warren's best friend. So did Warren have 3 best friends? Excuse me. Did Nolan have 3 best friends? Did Nolan have 13 best friends? Did Nolan have 30 best friends? Because if Javon is the best friend of Nolan, and if Warren is the best friend of Nolan, and if Trayston is the best friend of Nolan, exactly how many best friends did Nolan have?
And let me say this to you guys, because we all have, not saying everybody has children. We have children, right? We have children, and we know who our children's best friends are. Why is it that they are coming out and claiming to be Nolan's best friends, but Nolan's parents is like, I don't know them jokers. I don't know none of them children are the corn children's. I don't know any of them. They're all claiming to be Nolan's friends. And I believe that they're saying they're calling Nolan to be their best friend only because they want to feel people to feel sorry for them, and they want people to believe that what happened to Nolan, they're so sorry for it, blah blah blah. But at the same time, on the flip side of that, why didn't you guys say anything when it first happened? Like I said, if it was an accident, maybe everybody wouldn't be so like up in arms about what's going on with y'all hiding all this evidence. And then for the what is Sheriff Ledbetter, whatever his name is, to hurry up and come out before the autopsy was even done and say, oh, I don't suspect no foul play. You don't even know, sir. The autopsy hasn't even came back. Why are y'all hiding stuff? There was a white guy who is a DA. He came out and he said the DA in Mississippi is not doing her job. He said that the proper protocol is for her to address the community and to have transparency and to let everybody know what's going on both sides of the house, whether you're in support of Nolan or whether you over there on the ignorant side. So, yes, there needs to be transparency. But y'all, let's continue. Smash the like button. Let's get the likes up.
Are y'all making this up? Who did Nolan tell Warren was his best friend? Who did Nolan ever tell Tristan was his best friend? I'm not going to question Javon, because he's a brother. And I do believe that there's a strong chance that they may have been best friends. And I say that not only because Javon is a brother, Art, but I also felt that Javon, through the investigation team and alley-oop, with some of the answers that he gave on TMZ. Some of Javon's answers, in my opinion, kind of made it clear to me he actually cared about Nolan.
You're absolutely right. And Joe, if I'm saying this name right, forgive me if I'm not saying your name right. Joanna said Nolan was a sunshine they don't have. Exactly. Let me tell y'all something. These people, I believe, my own opinion, let the record reflect, okay, Joanna said right, okay, great. Let the record reflect, this is my opinion, right? If they were his friends, why didn't they say something right away? Why didn't they call Nolan's mother while they were out on the water and they had this situation with Nolan? Why did they decline the Coast Guard coming out to help them if their boat was taking on water? I wonder. Does that sound like something a friend would do? Does that sound like something a good friend would do that you've been knowing since like elementary? No, right? No. If I'm in any kind of accident with any of my friends, family members, I'm going to call the 911, whatever boat tow, and I'm going to, request help and assistance, because everybody's not trained to be no paramedic or to, be a lifesaver or whatever, boat accident, take care of that or whatever. And when Bart's lawyer said, well, he only went out there to help tow the boat. But for some reason, sir, y'all were saying that Bart was never in there, that he was in Wyoming. Even Bart's coach came out and said that he wasn't doing, he's not the suspect, and basically he didn't do anything, this, that, and the third, right? I'm telling you, it's crazy, right? So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, what they're doing in hiding this situation with, if it was an accident, it's still not a good look. But see, what's happening is, just like in Alex Murdaugh's case, the situation led to a big, huge lawsuit. And this is exactly why, right? This is exactly why they are trying to cover it up because they don't want their badonkadonks to get sued, because they're going to sue them all the way to the high heavens because this was an accident and they denied the help for the Coast Guard. They acting like they didn't want nobody to come out. And why was all this happening? Because they were drunk and higher than Cooter Brown, allegedly. Warren said they was drinking. So I believe they were drinking, and then they said, because look, Batum said that he was on the white stuff, the nose candies. Well, if he was on the white nose stuff, was Warren on the white nose stuff? Was Bart on the nose candy stuff too? Was Trayston and all of them? Birds of a feather flock together. I mean, let's be for real. Let's be honest, right? They were all doing the same thing. There's no way I'm hanging out with somebody's having a drink and stuff. Most of the time, 99% of everybody is doing the same thing. So y'all cannot fool me and say that, he was the only one on the white stuff. No. All of y'all were on the white stuff. So that means that y'all were all intoxicated, because that's what Warren said. They were drinking. So if they were drinking, they were intoxicated, okay? And they were also high up off the stuff as well. And I believe, like Queen said, it possibly could have been an accident. Did they try to go too fast on the boat and everybody went flying and Warren and possibly Nolan hit his head? Or was it a fight that ensued where allegedly maybe Bart, this is my opinion, my thoughts, only mine, came and kicked him, because y'all know he's a kicker for the football team where he goes to school at in Wyoming. He got a heavy foot. So is this the reason why he had that injury on the back of his head from, the results from his autopsy? I do believe so. Hey, Purple Flower, welcome in. How are you? So, I do believe that. I actually do believe it, but y'all, let's continue.
He cared about Nolan. I believe Javon actually cared about Nolan, and because of that, I'm willing to say that Javon may have actually been Nolan's best friend. I wish somebody would have asked Javon Art, to your knowledge, has Nolan ever called Warren his best friend?
Exactly.
Has Nolan ever called Trayston his best friend? To your knowledge, Javon, has Nolan ever told you that Warren and Trayston were best friends of his? Because Art, I'm having a problem with this three best friend narrative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to be 18 years old. You might have one best friend. You may have two. Don't get me wrong. If you all hang in a pack, you could have three best friends. But according to Javon's own words, Art, he didn't really hang around with them other guys too much.
Wow.
That's what I allegedly thought I heard him say. He didn't hang around with them guys too much. So if you got 2 or 3 or 4 best friends, you guys normally travel as a group. Javon seemed like he kind of spent most of his time with Nolan alone, just the two of them, not with Trayston and Warren. Although he knew them, it didn't appear that he hung out with them on the regular. So how could they all then be best friends? It's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying it's unlikely. So, according to Javon Art, he saw Nolan at 3:40 on the island. According to Javon, what I heard him say to TMZ allegedly was that he had another friend who was involved in an altercation.
Yo, we got 32 likes. Let's take the time to get some likes. Let's hit the like button, y'all. Let's hit the like button. Let's hit the like button, y'all. Give it a few minutes to hit the like button, because, y'all, this is getting really juicy. This is getting really, really juicy. Thank you, Purple Flower, for the gift. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's smash the like button. Let's get the 34 likes up. We got 100 and some people in the building, y'all. Just getting started not too long ago, y'all. Let's smash the like button, get the likes up, y'all. And let's continue listening to Umar.
In that he left Nolan at about 3:40 to go check on his buddy. Because according to Javon, his buddy was on another ship. And the parents of whomever on this other ship were trying to get him off the island because he was crashing out. He never said who this friend was. He never exactly told us what happened. but he said, I left at...
And hold on, y'all, because do y'all remember when Warren went up on the Batum show and he was talking, but he was like saying, my buddy, my buddy. Then he brought out Bart's name. And then Bart's name didn't really become relevant until we heard the boat tow enhanced call from Janetta. Shout out to Janetta. She really did that. And then Nancy Grace, she got her engineer or somebody that does the same thing as Janetta to do the same thing with the release from the boat tow company, the audio from the boat tow company. Nancy Grace's friend took that same video and enhanced it just like Janetta did and came out with the same results. Damn it, Bart. Damn it, Bart. Nolan's dead. So y'all are telling me and trying to lie and say, you know, it's like some type of back and forth. Well, Nolan, he was with this girl. He was with whatever her name was. I forget her name. He was with her and this, that, and the third. But on the boat tow call, I mean, it placed Bart. It placed all them guys. I don't know who was the actual person talking to the boat tow person. Does anybody know? Does anybody know? Because there was the person talking to the boat tow person that sounded like he was higher than Cooter Brown. He was sounding like he was drunk as a skunk. And he was the one talking to the boat tow people. But in the background, they were saying, damn it, Bart, Nolan's dead. Wake the F up, Nolan. So I don't know, like I said, if like Queen called it out and said, if this is a Alex Murdaugh accident in the water 2.0, that's possibly what happened. Maybe they were going too fast because they were too high and they were like cruising in the water. And then they probably hit some waves or something. And then maybe, I don't know, I don't see any evidence of the boats actually crashing, but did the boat have some type of situation? Did they run into each other? I mean, I don't know. They haven't even provided us with it. Oh, the girl's name is Katie. Thank you, as Alvin. Thank you. Yes, Katie. They were saying, oh, he was with Katie. He was with Katie. And then it was like, oh, well, we leave our phones usually. You telling me that nobody takes their phone on the water? That's a lie, because I've traveled the world before and I've always taken my phone out, and I've been on boat cruises, and everybody on the boat has a phone. So there's no way you could tell me that, there's no way you could tell me that nobody takes their phone out there on the water. No. Nobody's going to believe that. But y'all, maybe they thought that we was dumb and we was like, Willy Foo-Foo and Willy Lump Lump, and we believe what they say. Them little children of the corn is something else, y'all. Let's continue.
340 to go check on my friend on another boat because, quote unquote, well, these are not his words, I'm paraphrasing. He was kind of wilding out, crashing out, and he needed to help calm him down. I'm paraphrasing. He said when he got back, Nolan was nowhere to be found, and I'm paraphrasing. And Nolan's boat that he came on, Warren's boat, the so-called Big Daddy, the 22-foot Triton, had already left the scene. So according to Javon, I left Nolan at 340 to go deal with another situation. I came back, he was gone. According to Katie, the white girl who Nolan's white best friends are trying to use as an alibi in this situation. Okay, because they claim, and Warren said the same thing to Officer B.T. Coon when he spoke with him.
He calls him B.T. Coon. Oh, Lord. Okay, let's continue.
Claim that Nolan told them, I'm going to hang back on this island and talk to Katie. You guys go ahead, and I'll get back however I get it.
Wow. Easy Alvin says, I feel like they snuck attack Nolan on the boat and nobody stopped it. I believe that to be the truth too. I believe that to be one of the situations. I do believe that could have been one of the things too. And then on top of that, them all being higher than Cooter Brown, drunker than Cooter Brown. And then all this stuff is going on so fast. And they're probably, it was, I believe that was one of the situations. I do believe that. Let's continue, y'all.
Again, I'm paraphrasing. But guess what? We learned through Katie's sister that Katie said she has no knowledge of Nolan ever saying that. In fact, Katie said, Art, that Nolan told her I gotta get ready to head back to the boat because my friends are leaving soon. That don't sound like somebody who plans on staying, Art. Okay? According to her sister, Katie said Nolan told Katie, it's time for me to head back to the boat because my friends are going to be leaving soon. As far as I'm concerned, Art, Javon and Katie both threw us an alley-oop. Javon and Katie are throwing Sheriff Ledbetter of Jackson County an alley-oop because neither one of them are corroborating the story of Nolan's white friends on that boat. In fact, Javon said, this ain't adding up. Javon said, it's not like Nolan to say, you guys go ahead and leave me on this island, and I'm just going to stay back to talk to this girl, who I barely know. According to Javon, it don't make no sense. Javon ain't stupid, Art. That's his friend. He know damn well Nolan didn't tell him that he was going to stay back on that ship. And then Katie, I'm going to give a little bit of respect to Katie on this situation. Because as a white girl, Art, for her to come out and say that is not what happened, for her to come out and say that Nolan told me I got to get back to the boat because my friends are leaving, for her to say that, Art, that took a little bit of courage and honesty. That took a little bit of integrity. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to give her too much credit because she is trying to clear her name. What Katie is basically doing, Art, is she's saying, listen, y'all did whatever y'all did to Nolan.
Oh wow, I agree. Okay, let's patch this. I agree. I believe Katie probably did say that. Y'all did whatever y'all did to Nolan. I'm just trying to clear my name. I don't want nothing to do with this because y'all were the ones who, had even according to the boat tow call, y'all are the last ones that was in Nolan Wells' presence when on the boat tow because we heard it. So y'all were the last ones to see Nolan alive. Y'all were the last ones to see Nolan alive, not me. So y'all, let's continue. Hold on.
I'm not serving as nobody's alibi. I'm not helping nobody get out of this situation. You're not going to use me as a decoy, but I still appreciate Katie speaking up for Nolan, Art, because she didn't have to do it. Although she's trying to protect herself and stay out of the investigation, I appreciate Katie for letting the world know Nolan told me I got to head back to the boat because my friends are getting ready to leave. Now, according to Katie, Art, she spoke to Nolan sometime between 3 and 4:30. Now, her window appears to be wider than everybody else's window.
Wow.
So Javon's window is much smaller. He said, I saw him at 3:40, went to deal with another situation. By the time I came back, they were gone. Katie said, I spoke with him between 3 and 4:30. And I allege, Art, one of the reasons that Katie is making her window so wide is she trying to leave a little bit of wiggle room for Warren and them to get their story straight, allegedly. I think Katie trying to leave a little bit of wiggle room for Warren and them to get their story straight, Art. Now, according to our sister Christine, and my heart goes out to Sister Christine, Nolan's mother. My heart deeply, deeply goes out to you, Queen. According to Christine, Art, she heard from a coach who ran into Nolan on the island as well. And according to the coach, he spoke to Nolan between 2:30 and 3:30. So Javon didn't see him after 3:40. The coach spoke to him sometime between 2:30 and 3:30. And Katie said her conversation with Nolan was between 3 and 4:30.
Wow.
So you know what that means, Art? We can pretty much conclude that Nolan was likely to have been unalived, Art, sometime within the hour of 3:30 to 4:30.
If you guys agree with him, put a 1 in the chat. Okay, Jim says I agree. If you guys agree with that, put a 1 in the chat. If you guys agree, Jim says he agrees already. I agree with what Umar is saying too, because the timelines, what Katie was saying, it seems like it may be, it may be right about right. Because why would she have anything to do but give the right information, right? She wasn't on the boat. She didn't have anything to do with being in the presence of Nolan Wells during his last minutes of life, or 30 minutes, hour of life, right? So that sounds about right, y'all. Let's continue listening to Umar.
I'm going to insinuate that Nolan's life was taken because I do not believe he accidentally drowned. If he drowned, he was forcibly drowned. And we'll get to that in a minute. If Nolan drowned, he was forcibly drowned. He did not accidentally drown. He was a great swimmer.
Yep.
Miss me with the nonsense.
Yep.
That boy did not drown. If he drowned, it was by force.
Yep, I agree.
So again, Art, all three.
Put some hearts in the chat if you guys agree with that. If he did not drown because he swam good, but if he was drowned, it was by force. Put some hearts in the chat if y'all believe that. I solely believe that too.
People, arguably the last three to see him alive, except for those who took his life, Katie, the coach, and Javon, are arguably the last three people to see Nolan alive, except for those who took his life on that boat, allegedly. That's my position. So, they're all basically cutting off around 3:30. Remember, they made the call for the emergency sea tow at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Javon said he cut out 3:40. The coach, 3:30.
Yeah.
They made the call at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
That conversation we heard, the sea tow call, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that took place at 4. It sounded like there was some struggling going on in the background.
Facts.
Nolan.
Facts, y'all. Facts. It was some struggling going on. The sea tow was at 4 o'clock. So like Umar is saying, that had to be 4 o'clock or somewhere around there, close to up or down on the 30-minute time scale. That had to be around that time when this happened, because that's what time the boat tow call happened. And then, like Umar said, they were in the background, right? They were in the background saying, damn it, Bart, Nolan's dead. Wake the F up, Nolan. Y'all remember that. So y'all, I'm telling you, let's continue. Umar he's speaking truth to facts, y'all. Let's continue.
Getting alive while they were making the call. All right. Nolan could have been getting unalive while they were making the call. Nolan could have been getting choked out while they was on the phone with Sita. So again, Art, my position is Nolan lost his life somewhere within the hour of 3:30 to 4:30.
Anonymous, how you been doing? Anonymous says metadata will show when and if messages were. Hold on. Anonymous is onto something. Y'all, hold on. Anonymous says one of my mods. Metadata will show. Hold on. Metadata will show when and if messages were deleted. You are absolutely right, especially around the time frame the friend's mom picked it up. Was she sexually involved with Nolan? Just a thought. I don't know. That's a good question, Anonymous. That's a good question, because a lot of this stuff, I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff is like not adding up. But Umar finessed 3 times. At least he is kind of breaking it down like a lot of other people have. We wonder. That's a good question. But thank you for that give purple flower. Thank y'all. Everybody in the building, smash the like button. We are trying to really figure out what happened to Nolan Wells. Was it an accident? It possibly could have been. It was like a whole bunch of stuff that was convoluted. And Anonymous asked a wonderful question, because it's like they had the phone, they had his keys. Then Katie's saying that she seen him between this time and that time. Javon saying he seen him between this time and that time. Warren saying, we seen him between this time and that time. But the boat tow call places all of them around Nolan. Nolan, wake the F up. Damn it, Bart. So y'all, let's continue listening, y'all. We trying to break this case, y'all. We trying to crack this case wide open.
Now, before we go any further, Art, I need Ben Crump investigation team and Sheriff Ledbetter's investigation team to have a conversation with Javon, because according to Javon's statements on TMZ, the police never spoke to him. And I have serious concerns with the...
Oh, wow. Y'all, did y'all know that? I didn't know that. So Javon's interview with TMZ said that he never spoke to the police. So the police, if I'm understanding correctly, I'll rewind it. The police has not talked to Javon. Whoa, let me rewind it. I want to make sure that I'm putting out the correct information according to Umar and his research, because I didn't know that.
They were making the call. Nolan could have been getting choked out while they was on the phone with Cito. So again, Art, my position is Nolan lost his life somewhere within the hour of 3:30 to 4:30. Now, before we go any further, Art, I need Ben Crump, investigation team, and Sheriff Ledbetter's investigation team to have a conversation with Javon, because according to Javon's statements on TMZ, the police never spoke to him.
Wow.
And I have serious concerns with the manner in which this investigation...
Wow, wait a minute. So Sheriff Ledbetter have not talked to Javon. Now, they say the Triple K people are down there and the mafia is down there hot and heavy. Is this why people are being quiet? Because if this was an accident, you guys, it is a huge lawsuit. A huge lawsuit for Nolan's parents and family. Huge lawsuit. And this is what they don't want to do. They don't want to pay for a lawsuit in the, for Nolan Wells. Whoa. The sheriff didn't interview Javon? It seems like Batum dude is doing all the investigation, allegedly saying that, I seen all the boys' phones. I seen this. Why is he out there and he's not even a police officer anymore trying to investigate this situation? Why isn't the Mississippi police and DA and all that doing investigations and having clear transparency, having a press conference, letting everybody know what's going on? So maybe that will hush our voices up. But y'all, if y'all don't know, I made it #1 on the right to be sued list. They're trying to sue me, the lounge. They're trying to sue me. I'm #1 on the to be sued list, y'all. And I don't give a flying F. We're all trying to figure out what happened to Nolan Wells. If it was an accident, just say it was an accident, okay. Maybe they would accept more of the accident, but to try to even hide it and cover it up is crazy. Anonymous says, if there was the white powder, was it laced with, ooh. Anonymous, that's a good question. Because y'all, the fentanyl is something dangerous. You are absolutely, that's a good question. You can't trust or partake in anything, even drinking, without the risk of things being, yes, Anonymous, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Because that's what they do. Don't they lace even like weed and stuff with the fentanyl too? I heard of that before too. And if the white powder was laced with the fentanyl, that is double trouble, triple trouble, quadruple trouble if they were out there doing that and drinking. That's a good question. You're on to something, Anonymous. Thank you for that. Y'all, let's continue. I'm telling you, this is getting crazy. I mean, we're all trying to figure out, y'all.
Has been carried out so far, Mark. I have very serious concerns with the manner in which this investigation has been carried out so far. So anyway, Javon said, police never spoke with him.
Wow.
Why? We need a conversation with Javon, not because I think he's a suspect. I believe Javon is innocent, but we need to find out what he knows. That's #1. We also need a conversation with the coach. Who is this coach that Sister Christine said contacted her and told her he had a conversation with Nolan on the island between 2:30 and 3:30?
Wow.
We need to find out what he knows. And according to Katie's sister, she is already cooperating.
Wow, that's good. That's good.
But here's why those three got to be spoken to, Art. Not only so we find out what they know are, but did they see each other during their conversation with Nolan? Because Javon, if you was talking to Nolan and left him at 3:40, and if Katie was talking to Nolan sometime between 3 and 4:30, and if the coach was talking to Nolan between 3:30 and 4:30, Art, at least two of you should have ran into each other. Did the coach see Javon? Did Javon see the coach? Did the coach see Katie? Did Katie see the coach? Did Katie see Javon? Did the coach see Katie? Or if all three of them are saying they saw Nolan for the last time, roughly within the same hour, hour and a half, Art, did y'all run into each other? Let me tell you why I'm asking this question, Art. And I'm not throwing no shade at my brother Javon. I like Javon. I'm not throwing no shade at Miss Katie McCormick. I don't know her. I'm not throwing no shade at the coach, Art. But the reason I need to know why all y'all put y'all time within the same frame, and you may have not possibly seen one another, Art, are you guys keeping yourself out of the window of witnessing this crime by saying you didn't see him after 3:30? I want you to follow what I'm saying here, Art. It's kind of interesting that they all saw him last at 3:30, not after 3:30. Javon 3:40, roughly 3:30. My point is, Art, for all three of them to have the same exact time, if they did not see each other at all during these conversations with Nolan, are they pushing up the window of time during which they saw Nolan so they cannot be included in this investigation as a witness to a crime? In other words, Art, I don't think Javon had nothing to do with it. I know he didn't. But is he saying he saw Nolan a little earlier than he saw him so he can't be pulled into the investigation? I don't think Katie had nothing to do with the crime. But is Katie putting her conversation with Nolan a little earlier than it actually took place to make sure she can't be dragged into the investigation as a witness to a crime? Is it possible that the coach is putting his conversation with Nolan earlier than what it was, Art, to make sure he cannot get dragged into the investigation? I don't think they had anything to do with it, but they could have been a witness to a homicide, Art. They could have been witness to a homicide. If they did not see each other, if none of those three people, the coach, Javon, and Katie, if they did not see each other at all talking to Nolan, if none of them saw each other talking to Nolan, at least two of them are lying about the time they last saw Nolan. Are you following me, Art?
Yes, and I believe, just like Anonymous said, they could take those phones to collaborate the times. Text messages, phone calls that were made around the same time. They can find that out and figure that out. Anonymous says Umar needs to take his mama's moo off. Anonymous, he was a mess. He was a mess, Anonymous. Y'all, let's continue listening to see what Umar for this 3 times got to say.
All I'm saying is I have my suspicions as to whether or not this convenient 3:30 cutoff window, I have my suspicions that this convenient 3:30 cutoff window may have not actually been the time they saw Nolan. They may have saw Nolan.
Oh, wait, hold on. Tracy Keys says, I figured that no one is truly investigating because the truth has revealed itself. It's too many discrepancies, info and audio for there not to be any arrests, interrogations, and probable cause. Exactly. They're not trying to arrest nobody, y'all. Let this had been anybody of another race, they would have been arrested them. They would have been arrested them, because the sheriff already came out like right when it happened, the day after, or something, really right after it happened, and said, oh, there was no foul play. They hadn't even got his autopsy yet. So I'm telling you, this is something that is really very suspicious in nature for them to have no arrest. Even the DA, there's a DA, he's an older white guy. He came out and said, basically, the DA is not doing her job over there in Mississippi. He was like, being that this is a big black crime, he's had those situations that he took care of before as he was a top, like, head of the DA. And he said she should have did all the proper protocol and procedures to do everything to investigate and also let the community know. But y'all, let's continue.
Closer to the time he lost his life. Now stay with me, Art. I want to back up for a minute. And I want to say this to Brother Elmore, Nolan's stepfather. And I want to say this to Coach Tracy, who I believe was one of Nolan's coaches. Brother Elmore, the stepfather, and Coach Tracy, the coach, both said on national television, Art, that they don't think race played a role in this at all. Elmore, Tracy, two dark-skinned black men in Mississippi, and both of them said on national television, I don't think race had anything to do with this case. I am disappointed in Brother Elmore. I am disappointed in Coach Tracy. How dare you help these young people avoid the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. federal hate crimes law, Art, by you saying you don't think this had anything to do with race, Brother Elmore and Coach Tracy, you are helping these white folks avoid federal hate crimes charges. And let me tell you why this is important, Art. Let me tell you why this is important. Under the federal hate crimes law, Matthew Shepard, James Byrd, signed by Barack Obama, 2009. Under the Federal Hate Crimes Act, Art, you can go to jail for life. You can go to jail for life under the Federal Hate Crimes Law. So if you can go to jail for life under the Federal Hate Crimes Act, Art, why if
Big Tasty said, I'm white and proud. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Be happy and proud of who you are. But when you are a person who don't like somebody because of the color of their skin, I have a problem with it. Because I love everybody and I would not treat people different just because they're white, black, Puerto Rican, Asian, or whatever. That's just me. So this is what they're doing. This is what a lot of people are doing these days, but still, like they're like in 1940. Like, come on now, we should have evolved from that. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. You should treat people the way they treat you. Period, point blank.
Nolan's stepfather and coach telling white folks they don't think it had anything to do with race. I still love my brother Elmore. I still love my brother Coach Tracy. But would y'all please watch what comes out of your mouth during this investigation? Because you are undermining justice for Nolan. I hope you're listening, Brother Elmore, and I hope you're listening, Coach Tracy. You are undermining justice for Nolan by saying you don't think race had anything to do with it. How in the hell do you know? How do you know if race had anything to do with it? How well do you know these young people? It was 30 of them, Art. It was damn near 30 white youth spread across 3 boats. How many of them did Elmore know? How many of them did Coach Tracy know? So how are you going to go on TV and say, I don't think it had anything to do with race? Why are you helping them avoid accountability for what they may have done?
And see, that's my thing too. That's my thing. Why is Batum going up on his platform having these interviews, but they have not even spoke to the police officers, the FBI, the CIA, the elemental people? And Tatum Batum is over there trying to pamper them and trying to do his own investigation and say, well, they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. They proved, they showed, and they proved. No, so you're not an investigator. You are a failed police officer and a failed football player and a failed man in America, point blank, period. Hold on, y'all. Okay. He works for the people, the MAGA people, the ones who are racist and prejudiced and don't like black people. And then he's trying to comfort them and not even trying to figure out what happened. Like, all these people are trying to go in on Nolan's mother, his parents, and things, and his family, and all of them, instead of trying to figure out what happened to Nolan. They're so quick to try to go and dig in her background, trying to Google bomb her, say that she's a bad nurse and this, that, and the third, when Christine probably don't even know you. And if she does know you, maybe it's because you had a stinky kitty cat that died and she can't help to revive it. That's not Christine's fault. Maybe you need to just go ahead and just accept the fact that your stinky kitty cat died, and there's no hopes and wishes and dreams that it to be revived. You made bad investments with your private parts, and that's not Christine's problem. She can't help you resolve that problem. But then you go up there and you try to blame her for try to Google bomb her and do all these bad things. Then even they went and they said that oh, she did this, she did that to the board of nursing. And then it was from an anonymous person. No, if you are so rough and tough and you're trying to claim that Christine is a bad nurse practitioner, why don't you state who you are? Why don't you put your face out there? Why don't you say what happened, what doctor's appointment? She actually went over there and you had a problem with her where she didn't try to help you with your bad investments that you made with your kitty cat. She can't help with them problems. You just have to just accept the fact that your kitty cat died and there's no reviving it. But y'all, let's continue.
Know if they did it, Art. You don't know if they did it. They don't know if they did it. And they definitely don't know if it was motivated by race. What they should have said, Art, is what Javon said. And that's why I like the young brother Javon. That's why I like that young brother Javon. His mother, Sister Tashima, shout out to you. You raised a good kid. When TMZ asked Javon if he thought it had anything to do with race, Art, when TMZ asked Javon if he thought this had anything to do with race, he said, what? I don't want to answer that question. I don't want to answer that question. Perfect answer. Perfect answer. Or, Art, they could have said, I don't know. Nolan's stepfather could have said, I don't know if it had anything to do with race. Coach Tracy should have said, I don't know if it had anything to do with race. But to say you don't think it had to do with race when he was the only black boy across 3 ships? Are you out of your mind? Why would you say that and help them avoid the Federal Hate Crimes Act? Javon gave a better answer than those 2 black men. Javon, a child, gave a better answer than those 2 black men are when he said, I don't want to answer the question. And shout out to Javon, Art. He's intelligent. You know why? Because by saying, I don't want to answer the question, he answered the question.
Hey, Tamia.
Of course, race has
Hey,
something to do.
Cooley.
This is the...
Okay, so Cooley says, okay, the FBI director, I don't trust him. Reason, he doesn't tell the truth about anything. He lied about the Epstein files, and I believe he will lie about Nolan case too. I agree. Anonymous says, you people, Big Tasty, who's you people? Exactly, Anonymous. Big Tasty, we're not saying that it's okay if you say you're a white man. Anonymous is white too. You can be proud of who you are, but when you're using who you are, whatever race you are, to be like, to bully others, it's wrong. It is absolutely wrong. You treat people how you want to be treated. But anyway, y'all, let's continue.
United States of America. Race has something to do with everything involving black people. The country was built on the backs of black people. It's maintained on black people. We are disproportionately represented in the criminal justice system, overrepresented in the unemployment line, under the poverty line. Of course, everything in this country has to do with race, and I'm disappointed in us, Art, that we are so afraid to call racism what it is, that we literally got people asking us, when a white person takes the life of a black person, do you think it had anything to do with race? When a police officer takes the life or shoots a black person, do you think it had anything to do? What kind of idiotic gaslighting question is this, Art? All white people are racist. All white people are racist. So we can stop asking if it had anything to do with race. If it's
Now, I don't agree with him on that. All white people are racist. I don't think all white people are racist, because let me tell you, when I went to what I thought was a Trump rally, where it was actually not, they were, the anti-Trump rally, all of them was not racist. They were loving to, I mean, it was like a big family celebration. And guess what? Most of them are white. And they was basically, hugging each other, like, hugging me, showing love and everything. So, Umar, I'm not going to agree with that all white people are right. That's like saying all black people are, all white people are racist. That's like saying like all black people are racist. All Asians are racist. I can't say that for everybody, because look at Sam, Secret Service Sam. He's a white man. And guess what? He's a white man, and he's speaking up for truth to power. He's saying that black people are getting treated bad. There's a whole bunch of cases out here. Well, yes, they are treating and doing bad things to black people. So I don't believe that all people in each race, I don't believe that they're all racist. I just don't believe that. But y'all, let's continue.
black and it's white, it has something to do with race, because all white people are racist. That's just how it is. Now let's get back to this. Before we deal with the infamous Ceto card.
The soccer, I was at an anti-Trump rally. Hold on. Let's skip this. I was at an anti-Trump Trump rally. And there were so many white people that does not like Trump, and they like everybody and love everybody for who they are. Doesn't matter what color you are. So I was happy to be in the crowd of those people. So I can't say everybody was okay, got you. Yeah. So I can't say all white people are racist or prejudiced or whatever. Like, that's just my opinion though. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but y'all, let's continue seeing what Umar has to say.
For Warren. I want to deal with that infamous Ceto card, and I want to deal with Sister Tashima and Sister Christine's visit to Warren's home to get Nolan's cell phone. I want to deal with them two in a minute, but before I go there, I got a couple questions for Warren and his white friends. Nolan's best friend, and Warren even called Nolan his brother, Art. He even called him his brother. He said they spent the night together before they went out to White Devils one island. The night before, July 3rd, they stayed in the same home. How do you stay in the same home with somebody, Art, and leave them on an island? How do you sleep in the same house with somebody July 3rd and then leave them on an island July 4th? But I got a few questions for Warren. No disrespect. I'm not saying he's innocent, I'm not saying he's guilty, but I got a few questions for you, Warren. Since you can sit down and interview with Officer B.T. Coon, I need you to sit down and interview with Dr. Umar Ifatunde. So you can sit down and interview with Officer...
Hold on, Ifatunde is coming out. Ifatunde, y'all, let's continue.
B.T. Coon, I want you to sit down and interview with Dr. Umar Ifatunde. My first question to Warren, you said that Nolan is a best friend of yours, that he's like a brother. I have a question. If Nolan is your brother and best friend, why did you leave him on that island, especially when you all were drinking?
Facts.
Because somebody put a report out there, Art, that Nolan had been drinking heavily and was intoxicated. Of course, that allegation was dismissed because the coach who contacted Sister Christine confirmed that he spoke to Nolan between 2:30 and 3:30 and Nolan was not intoxicated. So they lied to protect their friends, because white people are always on code, Art. Not a single white person on that island dropped a dime yet. Not one of them. So anyway, Art,
Jamil said, smash the like button. Yes, y'all, smash the like button. Hey, Jamil, welcome in, y'all. Let's continue.
they tried to blame it on him being drunk. So he was just a drunk black kid who walked into the water and drowned. That's the narrative they wanted us to swallow. He was just a drunk black kid who walked into the water and drowned. And remember, Art, Sheriff Ledbetter allegedly ruled the case an accidental drowning before he did any investigation.
See, and that's what I said, you guys. Didn't I say that? I said that Sheriff Ledberry, or whatever his name is, he called this, no foul play before the autopsy report came out. Like, how are you going to say there's no foul play? You ain't investigate nothing. You ain't talking to nobody. Thank you, Gaku. Thank you. Welcome. You ain't talked to nobody, but you're hollering and screaming, oh, it wasn't a foul play, oh, nothing happened, blah, blah, this was a drowning, basically. No, you're not going to shove that down our throats because you did not do no investigation. You ain't talked to Javon. You have not talked to those other boys because that's what Batum is doing over there. He's going over there saying that he done seen cell phones and all, trying to act like a fake police officer, the failed police officer that he was that stole Christmas 40 years ago. He's going to try to investigate. He went to the island. They were over there crying, hollering, slinging snot and trying to put on a show and acting like, because all of us, y'all know I made #1 on the to be sued list by them people, which I don't care. Don't threaten me with a good time. Bring on the lawsuit. Just like Al Sharpton said, bring the lawsuit on. Please bring the lawsuit on, okay? But anyway, he did not do a investigation, but is quick to call it foul play. Get somebody else to do it. He is tripping with no maps, y'all. Let's continue.
He ruled Nolan's death an accidental drowning before he did any investigation.
Crazy, right?
As far as I'm concerned, that meets the definition of public corruption. As far as I'm concerned, that meets the definition of public corruption. But stand with Warren, Art. Warren, if Nolan is your brother.
Yes, ADHD, everything says suing. Nobody's suing people. They don't have nothing. Exactly. Did y'all know they got me as #1 on the to be sued list by them people? I don't give a flying F. Put me on the list, put me as number 55,000 because there's so many content creators out here that is asking for questions as to what happened to Nolan. I don't care if I'm #1 on the to sue list. Okay, it's going to be very detrimental once I go in there and read them people their rights and tell them what they ain't doing and what they should be doing. How about that? Since y'all cannot do y'all's job, it is basically my job to tell y'all to do y'all's job by reading y'all rights. So y'all, let's continue. I'm not scared of them people.
And best friend, why did you leave him on an island without his cell phone and his keys? Why did you take his cell phone and keys back to the mainland? You left him there and took his cell phone and keys back. Can you please explain that to me? What person wants to be on an island without their phone? Help me understand that, Warren. I don't know of an 18-year-old who wants to be anywhere without their phone, Art.
Exactly.
School without their phone.
Exactly, y'all. Tell me one person that doesn't go anywhere without their phone. Yo, I take my phone to the bathroom. I take my phone if I'm stepping out to go check the mail. I'm taking my phone if I'm sitting out on the patio, on the porch, the back porch, front porch. I'm taking my phone everywhere, even when I take a bath sometimes, even in the shower. So you telling me that Nolan did not have his phone out there? You saying something about his phone? Yeah, we don't take phones out there. Y'all are lying, liar, pants on fires, and the truth is not in y'all. But y'all, let's continue.
Be at home without their phone. They don't want to be out of town without their phone. They don't want to be at the mall, the movies, the restaurant. They don't want to be nowhere without their phone.
Facts.
Let alone on an island.
Exactly.
With no way to get off.
Exactly.
You left your best friend on an island, your so-called brother. You left him on an island with no way to get off, and you took his phone and his keys. Can you explain that to me, Warren?
Yep, it was a
While
trap.
you're thinking about it, I got another question for you, Warren, while you're thinking about it. You said at 11 o'clock, you called Miss Christine to see if she heard from her son. Warren said, Art, I called Miss Christine to see if she heard from Nolan. She said she had not heard from Nolan. Can I ask you a question, Warren? If you took his phone, how in the hell was his mother supposed to hear from her son when you have the son's phone?
Yeah, you guys, let me say this now. That was very suspicious to me. Why did y'all take his phone, his car keys? Why did y'all do all of that? To me, it sounded like a setup because really and truly, like to me, I feel like they're hiding something. Why did you, if this was an accident, I think it was way more than an accident. I really think now, comes to think of it right now, I think it's more than an accident because why would you take the phone, his keys, all of this stuff, and then not report to his mother right away? If y'all were the best friends, y'all got his mom's number, or one of y'all got his mom's number to call and say, hey, this what happened to Nolan. So it is very, very suspicious. Y'all, let's continue.
Did you tell Miss Christine that you had her son's phone when you called her? I bet you didn't.
Facts.
I bet you didn't.
Facts.
Think about that, Art. He called the mother and asked her if she heard from her son. But he knows she didn't hear from her son, Art, because he has her son's phone.
Facts, Bronze.
How can the mother hear from Nolan when you have Nolan's cell phone and you left them on an island?
Exactly.
And I bet you didn't tell her you had his phone. Because if she knew you had his phone, Art, she would not have had to use Life 360 to find the phone.
Absolutely.
If you had his phone and you called her at 11 o'clock to see if Nolan was okay, why didn't you tell Nolan's mom you had his phone? Why did my sister Christine and my sister Tashima have to use Life 360 to find their son's phone? Because you're playing games.
Facts.
You playing games. You playing in our face like we stupid. That's what this is.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did it, Art, but he damn sure knows who do.
Yeah.
I allege and I believe that all 30 of those white kids on all 3 of them boats know exactly which one of them did it,
Yep.
and the rest of them are covering it up. And
Facts.
guess what, Warren? And the rest of you 30 white kids on those 3 boats, let me explain something to you. Federal hate crimes law, you can go to jail for the rest of your life in case nobody didn't tell you. Federal hate crimes law, you can go to jail for the rest of your life in case nobody told you. Guess what? The Until Anti-Lynching Act, you can go to jail for up to 30 years. And if Nolan was unalived by more than one person, that constitutes a lynching. That constitutes a lynching. So you can go to jail for up to 30 on the Until Act. You can go to jail for life on the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Hate Crimes Act. And in the state of Mississippi, Art, if you are an accessory after the fact, not accomplice. Accomplice means you participated in the murder. Accessory means you helped cover it up afterwards. If you are an accessory to the fact after the fact, Art, you can go to jail for up to 20 years, Mississippi law. So they can go to jail for up to 20 years, Mississippi law. Accessory after the fact, you helped to cover up the crime. You can go to jail for 30 years on the Until Anti-Lynching Act, because more than one of you probably participated in Nolan's unaliving. And under the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Federal Hate Crimes Act, Art, they can go to jail for life. And this is why I need Nolan's step pop and coach to watch what comes out of their mouth and stop trying to help these white kids avoid accountability for what they did to Nolan. Because if the tables will turn, white folks are not going to try to help your child avoid any accountability. So stop the. Now, another question I have for Warren. You said you and Nolan been friends since 8th grade. Since 8th grade, Art. But Sister Christine says she don't know none of them kids really, Art.
And y'all know that is wild to me. That is so wild. You've been knowing Nolan for since 8th grade, and Nolan's mom, Christine, says she don't know who you are. Let me say this. You know, kids are kids. You know, even when we were kids, we had like maybe I had like 1 or 2 best friends, but my family, my mother, my father, they know who my best friend is, right? They know who my best friend is, right? But you telling me that your child has a friend that's in the 8th grade now. Y'all are 19, 18 years old now, right? 8th grade, that's like what, early teenage? You're telling me that since an early teenager, your child has a best friend that you as a mother, as a parent, you ain't never heard of, never seen. That sounds very suspicious to me. I feel like they are trying to say that they're best friends with him because they don't want this lawsuit to happen. So they're trying to make people feel sorry for them. Oh, that was my best friend. Well, if that was your best friend, you would have went and you would have called and let Miss Christine know that, you know, there's a situation going on with Nolan. Hey, it's emergency 911. This is what's happening. But for them to be throwing themselves and saying that they're Nolan's fake friends, we got to ask Javon. Just like Umar said, let's ask Javon if Warren and Tristan were really their best friends, y'all. Let's continue.
My kids. So help me understand how you are Nolan's best friend, friends since 8th grade. You called him your brother. Y'all spent the night together July the 3rd, the morning before y'all went to White Devil's Horn Island, and his mother don't even know who you are. And you said out your own mouth that y'all never hung out at Nolan's house. So how are y'all best friends? I had best friends growing up, Art. My mother knew who they were.
Exactly.
Who has a best friend that their mom don't know about?
Exactly.
A
Facts.
best friend and the mom don't know him, it sounds suspicious. Why didn't you tell Miss Christine you had her son's cell phone when you called and asked if she heard from him? Art, as far as I'm concerned, this probable cause he had something to do with this.
Yep.
Art, I'm holding her son's cell phone. I left him on the island. I took his keys and phone.
Hey, what you said?
And I'm on the phone with the mom. I got his phone. But I'm calling his mother at 11 o'clock. Have you heard from your son? And I'm holding her son's cell phone, and I don't even tell him. Art, this ain't making no sense. This ain't making no sense. And I want to know from Sheriff John Ledbetter, Art, Jackson County Sheriff, you don't have probable cause just off of that alone? Somebody calls somebody's mom asking if she heard from them while they had their phone and left them stranded on the island? And if you care so much about Nolan, Art, if he cares so much about Nolan, the so-called white best friend, Art, why did you wait till 11 o'clock? Y'all left the island 4:30. Y'all left the island 4:30. If you care so much about Nolan, why are you not calling his mother until 11 o'clock? It's pitch black outside at 11 o'clock, Art. It's pitch black. It's almost midnight, and you wait till 11 o'clock to call his mom and ask her if she heard from her son, but he's supposed to be your brother and best friend. Listen here, Warren. I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. And then I have a question for his dad, too, Art. I don't know if you know this, but his dad has started an online fundraising platform for Warren and two of his friends. I think they raised $160,000 so far. $160,000. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody has received a warrant. Nobody has been indicted. Nobody has been charged. Art, if you are innocent, why are you raising money online? You ain't been charged with a crime at all. The state of Mississippi is doing everything they can to make sure y'all don't get charged with anything. So why are you raising money online? Why did y'all cancel your social media? Why are y'all lawyering up? They hired Donald Trump's lawyer, Art. One of Donald Trump's lawyers is now the three of their lawyers. If you innocent, what you need Donald Trump's lawyer for?
Preach, I got to say it. Preach, Umar. I got to say it. Y'all know how I feel about Umar. He is speaking truth to the facts right now. I got to give him his credit. You got to give credit where credit is due. Why you got a lawyer if y'all didn't do anything? Y'all?
If you're innocent, what you raising $160,000 for? It sounds like y'all getting ready to defend yourselves. That's what it sounds like to me.
Exactly. T Keeper said when y'all are already rich. Let me break it down. T Keeper says when you're already rich. Absolutely. Let me say this. Because I think what Queen was saying, shout out to Queen Ahmadiyah Shakur. Y'all check out her channel. She is on to something. I believe she cracked part of this case. What if this is a Alex Murdaugh 2.0? And y'all know what the Alex Murdaugh, if you guys are just joining us later in, thank you, TS, for the gift. If y'all are just joining me, y'all, Alex Murdaugh, he had a similar situation. He had his son got, drunk in the cooler brown on the boat and was driving the boat, had a boating accident. And then Alex, his dad, tried to cover it up. And then allegedly he, shot and killed his wife and one of the sons. And they had to pay out over $500,000. He did himself to the lady who passed away because of the boating accident. Then they went and sued the liquor store, the family of the family of the lady who passed away. They went to go and sue the liquor store where Alex Murdaugh's son bought the liquor from. So they said that, he used a fake ID, which was his brother's ID, and then he used his mom's debit card to get the liquor and the alcohol. So the family went after the liquor store to sue them for money too. So is this a 2.0 of Alex Murdaugh? Maybe a boating accident, because they're raising this money so that they don't have to pay their money out of their pocket, because they do probably are millionaires, trillionaires, but they don't want to have to pay, Christine, Nolan's mother, out of their own pocket. So they went and raised money because they think that little bit of money is going to suffice for whatever. I don't know, but they don't want to take that money out of their own pocket. So they decided to do a fundraiser. Why are you doing a fundraiser if this was your best friend? If you didn't do anything to him, why are the signs of guilt like being flagged and waved all across all kind of different ways with all the information we got, right? Y'all pay attention. Like Queen said, y'all pay attention.
Sounds like y'all think the truth is going to get out really, really soon, and y'all want to be prepared for it. Again, Art, I'm not saying he did it, but I definitely believe he knows who do. Now.
Wow. Yes, I do truly believe. Umar is up to some too. He's making perfect sense. Why, if you guys are friends, y'all didn't even go to Nolan's funeral? Y'all are friends since 8th grade. Warren allegedly let you tell it out your mouth, your words, not ours, and you didn't go to your best friend's funeral? But you're so hurt, you're going to raise some money and then act like you don't know what the waka flocka flame happened to your best friend? Is that so suspicious to y'all?
We're going to get to this call. But before we get to this call, Art, I'm going to ask the question of Benjamin Crump. Attorney Benjamin Crump. I met him twice, Art. I met Benjamin Crump the day before I graduated with my doctorate at an Urban League conference in New Orleans. I presented at a workshop at the Urban League conference in New Orleans. This is July of 2012. And I flew back to graduate and get my doctorate in clinical psychology. We had lunch. There's a few of us at the table. We had lunch. Okay, this is around the Trayvon era. And then I met Benjamin Crump again at HBCU Delaware State University about 3 or 4 years ago at the Black Farmers Conference that was put on by one of the black professors there. She invited me to keynote the luncheon, and she switched me out at the last minute for Attorney Benjamin Crump. I understand it was a black bourgeoisie event. I'm not a member of the black bourgeoisie. I got switched out.
Oh, so Walnut says, where's the NAACP? Well, I said that too with Carmelo Anthony's case, and I went down to Collin County myself. Me and Jamil went to Collin County, and we found out that the NAACP had already taken action with Carmelo Anthony's trial. And then with this right here, I'm sure the NAACP is somewhere around as well. So y'all, let's continue. Good question.
No harm, no foul. Ben Crump gave a good speech. But here's my question to Benjamin Crump.
Indigo Girl, we got him out of here. We don't play about the trolls. We send them to the block party wherever they may lay or wherever they may slay. We don't got time to be playing games over here. We're trying to figure out what happened to Nolan. So we put them out, and y'all, I had to put some, I was gonna put some nuts in his mouth to go. But y'all, let's continue.
And Al Sharpton. Here's my question to Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton are, how long are y'all going to wait around before y'all call a spade a spade? How long is Ben Crump and Al Sharpton going to wait around, Art, before they tell the world that they don't think this investigation is being done correctly? How long before Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton demand that the FBI and Department of Justice take over this investigation. Art, it's been over a month and we know nothing.
Exactly.
It's been over a month and we.
But let me kind of explain something, because Queen brought this up too in her live. She said, Trump is over the FBI. Do you think he gets a flying F? I mean, I don't believe so. But there are a lot of judges and stuff, because even when he went to court, he got denied for some of the lawsuits that he was trying to, sue for. So there are judges out there, and the FBI does need to bring on their people to investigate, and not investigate the stupid sugar honey iced tea. Oh, this person arrested for threats. Oh, that person is arrested for making threats. What about Christine? What about Nolan's parents? There are people making threats to them. Why hasn't anybody been arrested for them? Sounds suspicious to y'all? To me, it does. Let's continue.
No, nothing. Now, let me say this, Art. There's several circumstances through which you can demand the FBI come in and take over an investigation. One of them, Art, if there is a suspicion of public corruption or obstruction of justice. The FBI, the Department of Justice, can come in and take over a case on the suspicion of public corruption or obstruction of justice. So you're going to say, Dr. Umar, what evidence do you have of that? First of all, they declared this an accidental drowning before they did any investigation. That's a cover-up. Not only that, Art, they never treated the boat like a crime scene. They never took a look at the other two boats. We have no information at all on the other two boats. Those 30 white kids should have had their cell phones confiscated, investigated. All their social media should have been investigated. Their homes should have been investigated. They should have all been interrogated. They should have been investigated to see if they were...
Facts, Anonymous. Y'all read what Anonymous said. Anonymous is not playing, and neither am I. So if you guys act like y'all got a problem, y'all will be sent to the block party. Read Anonymous's his chat, his what he wrote. Jamil says, facts, Umar. Yes, the children of the corn. Yes, the children of the corn is cutting up, y'all. They are tripping with no maps. They are trying to act like they are Nolan's best friends, but then a best friend is going to come to your rescue. I mean, they didn't come to his rescue at all, but y'all, let's continue.
Had any connection to any of the white hate groups in the state of Mississippi, none of that was done. They gave the boat back to the owner, Art. They gave the boat back. The boat may have been a crime scene.
Facts.
And they gave it back. Now, according to the Cajun Navy, another question for Ben Crump, Art. According to the Cajun Navy, they offered Ben Crump to put dogs on the boat and let the dogs sniff it out to see if anybody had recently been deceased on that boat or if there had been any blood on that boat. And according to the representative from the Cajun Navy, Ben Crump told him don't do it. So I need Ben Crump. Did
Ben Crump say don't do it because he feels like that wasn't even the boat that Nolan Wells allegedly possibly passed away on? And then the Navy, Cajun Navy is probably trying to throw a monkey wrench in this situation. Is that why Ben Crump possibly could have declined that? I mean, I don't know, but y'all, let's continue.
Respectfully, I'm not accusing him of nothing, Art. But I need Ben Crump to explain to me why you didn't let them use the dogs to sniff out that boat. Why did you not let them sniff out that boat with them dogs? Did you have your own dogs to sniff out the boat? Because if you didn't, why didn't you let them sniff the boat out with the dogs? The dogs can tell, Art, if somebody had recently lost their life or if blood had been spilled. He said Ben Crump told him no. I need Ben Crump to explain that. I need Sheriff John Ledbetter to explain why the boat wasn't treated as a crime scene, potential crime scene. I need him to explain why all the white kids wasn't arrested and questioned, because if it was black kids and a white kid went missing, Art, they would have all been arrested and questioned. You know
now, y'all know, and y'all, we got to keep it 1,000. Y'all, we got to keep it 1,000. He is absolutely right. Had it been the other way around and reversed, That's what happened. What would have happened? All them black boys, they would have been arrested. Had a white boy been, unalived and they don't know whatever, they would have arrested them. Why didn't they arrest all these boys? Because if they would have arrested these boys, Warren and all of them, and all the 30 kids on the between the three boats, somebody would have broke. Somebody would have broke if they had somebody law enforcement that is going to do, transparency and do the right thing. Somebody would have broken, said, and told everything that happened. But y'all, let's continue.
They would have all been arrested and questioned. And then let's talk about the autopsy, all right? Let's talk about the autopsy. So the Mississippi State Medical Examiner, they do their autopsy July 7th, right? July 7th. And then Nolan's mother requested an independent autopsy, as she should have. They send Nolan's body to Washington, D.C. When the black medical examiner gets the Nolan's corpse part, the throat tissue and the lung tissue is gone. How is he supposed to determine if Nolan died from being choked out or if Nolan died from drowning if he don't have the throat tissue or the lung tissue art? How is he supposed to do his job? And y'all didn't send the throat tissue or the lung tissue. And nobody has explained yet whether or not the medical examiner in DC is ever going to get the throat tissue or the lung tissue. And I personally believe, Art, Nolan was deceased before he hit the water. I believe Nolan was deceased before he hit the water. And the reason they held onto the throat tissue and the reason they held onto the lung tissue is they didn't want nobody to know that Nolan was murdered before he hit that water.
And y'all, let me stop Umar for the next 3 times right there for a quick second. Now, I do believe, I gotta agree, because they're saying like their protocol, like the respect of like having a second autopsy, like the first autopsy, they should be sending all of the body parts along with the body so that the second the second autopsy can be done correctly too, like a full autopsy. So why didn't they send the throat and the organs along, to be for the second autopsy to be fully completed and done, like the first autopsy was done? That is very suspicious to me. Why did you take the throat and the organs and not send them to the second autopsy that Benham requested? That just sounds like very suspicious to me. That is signs of guilt that you're hiding something. But y'all, let's continue listening to Umar.
Emmett Till was murdered before he hit that water. Just like Dr. King's brother, A.D. King, was murdered before he hit that water. Remember, Art, when Dr. King's brother was murdered, Reverend A.D. King, they found him in a swimming pool. They ruled it a drowning. And then one of the paramedics said, what, Art? One of the paramedics who took Dr. King's brother out the pool, Art, said he didn't have no water in his lungs.
Wow.
The paramedic said he didn't have no water in his lungs, Art. And plus, A.D. King, just like Nolan, A.D. King, just like Nolan, was a great swimmer, Art. Was a great swimmer. They kept them lungs, I believe. They kept the lungs, Art, because they knew that those lungs would have provided evidence of the fact that Nolan may have been deceased before he hit that water. They kept the
Bam! That was powerful, Umar. I'm not going to lie. That was very, powerful. They kept it because they didn't want the second autopsy report to really find out what happened. That's basically it in a nutshell. They did not want the second autopsy to be performed and to find out exactly what everybody is thinking. Y'all, let's continue.
Because it may have shown some trauma that Nolan may have gotten choked out. And then you got the red substance around the back of the head that the DC medical examiner discussed. We don't know if Nolan got hit in the back of the head. We don't know if the blood simply drained to the back of the head. But here's the thing, Art. They say Nolan was found face down in the water. Nolan was found face down in the water, Art. Not only that, Nolan was transported face down to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I heard that too. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys heard that too, that Nolan's body was transported face down. I did hear that. I heard that.
My doubts as to whether or not the red, which is probably blood in the back of the head, the subcutaneous red area, I don't think that has anything to do with the blood draining to the back. You want to know why? Because he was found floating on his face. And he was sent to Washington, D.C. on his face. So the blood couldn't have went backwards, Art.
Wow.
I believe Nolan got hit in the back of the head, and it was that hit that caused
Wow. Umar Finesse 3 times is trying to be like Queen over there, trying to trying to crack the case. I did not think of it like that. So if they shipped him with his face down, definitely would be no reason for them to see that maybe if they were transporting his body, he hit a bump and maybe, had something going on back there. But he had to be, probably, hit or choke possibly. Monty, yes, I believe so. Because if he was on his face down, definitely wasn't during transport. Oh, the back of his head. Y'all, let's continue.
life. It was that hit that cost him his life.
Wow.
It was that hit that cost him his life. Now, with that being said, Art, I want to go to Sister Tashima and Sister Christine going over to Warren's home, allegedly, to get Nolan's phone. So, Sister Christine reported Nolan missing around 12:22 p.m. on the 4th. Sometime after that, her and Sister Tashima, Javon's mom, used Life 360 Art and they tracked the phone to Warren's home. I believe it was Warren's home. Don't hold me to that. I think it was one of the friends' home, lady friend's home. I think Warren said they were swimming at a lady friend's home. Whoever house it was one of them kids who was out there on White Devil Horns Island. So they tracked the phone to his house, Art. And Sister Tashima said when they opened up the door, the house was dark.
Wow.
You know what a house was dark, Art? They turned the lights off so they wouldn't recognize nobody's face.
Oh, wow.
When they saw Nolan's mom is outside, this is what I believe happened. This is what I'm going to let. Nolan's mother and Javon's mother are outside. How did they know where we are?
Oh, wow, y'all. He is making sense, y'all. They didn't turn out the lights. And they didn't want to know. So Javon's mom and Christine, Nolan's mom, wouldn't see who's all in that house. Whoa. Y'all, let's continue. This is getting deep. Oh my God. Jamil said, yes, Umar, 100%. Yes. Jamil, you heard that? Whoa.
The lights off because they are not going to leave until we open this door. They turn the lights off, Art, so they can hide.
Wow.
They didn't know that Nolan had Life 360 on that phone. They didn't know that Nolan had Life 360. Now, Sister Tashima said, Art, it took them 15 minutes to bring the phone.
Wow. So it took them 15 minutes for them boys to give Nolan's mom and Javon's mom the phone. Oh, hey, Black Anonymous, how are you? Black Anonymous says, hello, sister at the lounge. Umar is always trying to insert himself in situations. If I were Nolan Mom's family, I would... He is speaking truth to facts, though. I got to give it to him. He is breaking it down, and he is making sense because why did they turn out the lights? Why did they turn out the lights? Why did it take them 15 minutes to bring Javon's mom and Christine, Nolan's mom, Nolan's phone? This is all making sense, y'all. Let's continue, y'all.
Art, she said it took them 15 minutes.
Wow.
You know why? Because they was deleting his Snapchat accounts. That's why, Art. It took them 15 minutes to bring the phone because they were deleting Nolan's Snapchat account. And they also needed to make sure they had.
Jamil said Umar took his time before speaking on this note. Yes, because he's breaking it down, y'all. I'm sorry, I got to give Umar his props because he is breaking it all the way down and making sense of everything, that some of the stuff that I didn't even realize. But y'all, let's continue.
A story straight in case Sister Christine and Sister Tashima had any more questions, Art. That's what was going on.
Wow.
But let me say this to Sister Christine and Sister Tashima.
Wow.
My beautiful African sisters, don't you ever again in your life go to a home at that time of night by yourself without no man.
That's
Brother
true.
Elmore should have been with y'all. You are in Mississippi. You don't know who would have been in that house. You don't know what type of racist rednecks could have came out there and attacked you guys, and y'all could have ended up missing just like Nolan. And once again, they would have said they never saw y'all.
That's true. I agree, because Mississippi, they say, is a worse state with like racism. You know, they got the Triple K and still in action. They said they got the mafia is still in action. So, and I don't just say Mississippi. I just think as a woman personally, like, I'm not going to go out that late trying to figure out something when I know it's a bad situation. I would definitely take my husband with me. Like, I'm not going nowhere that late when I know it's a hot and heated situation, because they will. If something were to happen, they'd be like, we don't know what happened. She ain't come ring our bell. But y'all know the ring cameras, they are busting up people. They are solving cases left and right, just the ring itself. So it's crazy. Jamil says justice for Nolan is all we care about. Absolutely. 1,000. We are trying to figure out what happened to Nolan. We are trying to figure out what happened to Nolan. And Umar, he did his research. I got to give it to him. He did his research and he is on point. Y'all, let's continue.
Again, they would have said that they never saw y'all. So please don't do that again. I know you was looking for your son. I know you was helping your girlfriend look for her son. But don't y'all ever pull up at the white people's house you don't know after midnight. Don't you do that no more, ladies. Bring a couple alpha males with you. Bring Brother Elmore with you next time. But this is what I wish they would have done, Art. Let me tell you what I wish they would have done. When Sister Tashima and Sister Christine got to that house, Art, I wish they would not have told them they knew the phone was in there. Stay with me, Art. I wish they would have not told them they knew the phone. They should have played it off, Art. They should have said, we want to know if anybody has seen Nolan. We haven't heard from him since he went with y'all to White Devil's Horn Island. And they would have said, we ain't heard from him, Art. And then I would have said, do you know if Nolan had his phone with him? I've been calling my son all day. He's not picking up. Do you?
Y'all, that's what I would have did too. I would have played them all the way to the left. I would have been playing them like a violin to see what they would respond with. I sure would have did that. I sure would have. Let's continue, y'all.
No, if he had his phone. And if they would have said no, Art, if they would have
Jamil.
said, we don't know if he had his phone or not, you know what I would have done? I would have called the police.
Right then and there.
And I would have told the police, Art, my son is missing. He went to White Devil's Horn Island with these white kids in his house. They had his
Anonymous.
phone. They don't know I know they had his phone. And they just lied to my face and told me that they don't know where the phone is, and the phone is right in there with them. I believe that they are suspects in my son's disappearance, and I want them all arrested. That's what I wish they would have done, Art.
Yeah, that's true.
I wish they didn't tell them they knew the phone was in there. I wish they would have acted like they.
But I do have a question. If they would have done that, the police would have tried to take the phone then, though? I'm wondering. The police would have said, well, this is evidence. We need to take his phone, and not gave him the phone to Christine. So I don't know how that would have worked. But if that was the case, I would have fought for the phone and said, no, I know y'all in here. Y'all done did something allegedly. From what I'm believing, y'all all suspects. Arrest them and give me my son's phone. But y'all, let's continue.
Didn't know if the phone was in there, and just asked them if they saw the phone. And once those white kids lied, I would have called the police, because they never thought anybody was coming for Nolan's phone and keys. They never thought anyone was coming for Nolan's phone and keys because they didn't know Sister Christine had Life 360 on that phone, Art.
I agree.
They did not know that.
Yeah.
And I think it is so disrespectful, Art, so racist, and so bigoted that white people are filing false reports on Sister Christine's nursing license, Art. She now got to go before the nursing board in Mississippi, Art. Nolan's mother, still grieving the death of her son, she got to go and defend her credentials because white folks are mad that she's demanding justice for her son.
Yeah, they met y'all. These racist white folks, because not everybody, white and Mexican, Asian, are all racist. I don't believe that. It's who you are as a person. That is, you're a racist because you are who you are, and maybe you learn, generational racism in your family, and that's just who you are, or whatever the case may be. But I just think that with this case right here, if they were black, it would have been a whole different situation. I'm just saying, it would have been a whole different situation. Y'all, let's continue.
This sounds just like Mamie Till Mobley, Emmett Till's mother. They did the same thing to Emmett Till, Art. After they assassinated Emmett Till, they harassed his mother. They sent her all type of threatening phone calls.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say, y'all. That's what I wanted to say. They Google bombed her, and also they sent in like something to the medical board saying that, a complaint, trying to get her license taken. And I'm like, these people are just really sick in the head. They are really sick in the head, low IQ, and dumber than a box of rocks. These people are going up and saying that she didn't take good care, whatever they put on the Google. And I'm thinking to myself, half of you, Christine probably don't even know you from a can of paint. You are going up there, and then your name is all spread all over the thing. Her name is something McQueen or something like that. And putting stuff up there about Christine, and half of Christine probably don't know you. You trying to go to Christine to get your kitty cat taken care of that you made bad investments with, and that's why it probably stink and is dead on arrival, and there's no resuscitating the kitty cat. Is stinky, funky, and you ain't got no walls. Christine can't help in that situation. I'm just keeping it 1,000. Go sit down and have a seat, y'all. Let's continue.
Letters, notices. Here we are, Art. 61 years later, they doing the same thing to Nolan Wells' mom. For black people who think white people have changed, for black people who think white people have changed, Art, it's time to wake up and smell coffee. They are their ancestors, Art. They are their ancestors.
Oh wow. DJ Ashley says Ringo TV is bashing the mom like crazy. Yeah, Ringo TV tried to come over here, and I politely blocked him and his dirty looking self. Go and sit down and have a seat. You are mad because you're not getting any views, Ringo TV. And also you're mad because nobody is paying you any attention, and you're broke, busted, and disgusting, looking like a whole dirt bag over there on your channel. And I don't feel sorry for you. You are a black man, and you are not even just because he's black. Anybody that is criticizing Christine because she's asking for questions as to what happened to Nolan, and y'all are attacking this woman. I cannot wait for things to happen to you like this that happened to Christine, and for people to send you the same energy and see how it works out for you. But y'all, let's continue.
Ancestors, they might be worse. They are their ancestors. And since they are their ancestors, we need to be our ancestors. Now, let's talk about the infamous Cito call, Art. So again, Javon sees Nolan at 3:40. The coach sees Nolan between 2:30 and 3:30. Katie sees Nolan between 3 and 4:30. I already told you I believe Nolan was unalived between 3:30 and 4:30. Now, our sister, what was her name? Jacqueline Brentley or something. Jeanette Brentley, Jacqueline Brentley. Forgive me, sister, for mispronouncing your name. But our sister, who is an audio engineer, Art, she went through the laborious process of cleaning up the background conversation during the infamous Cito call. She cleaned up the background audio during the infamous Ceto call art, and during the infamous Ceto call art, according to her cleanup, it sounds like they were trying to clean up an unaliving of Nolan Wells.
I agree.
You
Yep.
hear people saying things like, is he still alive? Did you
Mm-hmm.
unalive him?
Yep. They were saying, damn it, Bart, Nolan's dead. Nolan, wake the F up. Why do you hear that in the background on the boat while they're trying to call in for a boat tow? This is at the time when everything was going down.
It gets corroborated. All the white young folks on those 3 boats need to go to jail, Art. They need to be charged, all of them.
Yeah, because Warren said out of his mouth that they were drinking. And then the Batum, the raccoon that stole Christmas, the one that's working on the magatation, the only black person working on the magatation for them people over there that is against, they're racist, the racist white folks. They are saying he is over there, just putting this thing in it, he was on, that Nolan was on the white stuff, the sugar buka candies and the nose candies, that he was on that. Well, if he was, all of them was. Warren was on there, on the nose candies. Trayston was on the nose candies. Bart was probably on. Allegedly, this is just my opinion. Let the record reflect. This is my opinion. They were all on that stuff. They're not going out there on the 4th of July and only one person is doing that. No. Because pictures of Warren in somebody's camera I put up, he looked like he was tore up from the floor up. That's why I'm saying I believe that this could possibly be a boat accident. Alex Murdaugh 2.0. And they know that with this situation is that if it was a boating accident, they know that they are going to get their badonkadonks handed to them, because Ben Crump is going to come in with that civil lawsuit and they're going to have to pay millions of dollars that they don't want to pay. They maybe even possibly will bankrupt them. People got only so much money in the bank, right? I mean, they don't got no money like, their money, it may be long, but not long. You know what I'm saying? So this is probably why they did the GoFundMe, because they're saying they thinking, oh, we got to pay. They're going to be a civil lawsuit. We need to go do a GoFundMe. Y'all go pretend and act like y'all were Nolan's best friend, so maybe some people can feel sorry for y'all. They are doing the most on the coast, but y'all, let's continue.
You committed the crime, whether you was an accomplice to the crime, whether you was an accessory to the crime. Whether you committed the crime, 1st-degree murder, whether you was an accomplice to the crime, you helped them carry it out. Whether you was an accessory to the crime, you helped them plan it, or you helped them cover it up, Art, because I'm having problems.
Yeah.
I'm having problems with this investigation. It is too lax. It is too soft. And my question to Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, how long before y'all going to demand that the Federal Department of Justice take over the investigation, Art? As I was saying earlier, you can demand the feds to take over the investigation, Art, if there is concern about public corruption.
But let me say this, because y'all remember when that the Aubrey case in Georgia, right? Remember, it was almost similar to this Carmelo Anthony and also to this Nolan case, right? The feds, I mean, not the feds, the judges, the DA, they're all like, they're like their family. So they're family and they're effing over people in the justice system when they have all these cases, right? They're doing all the wrong things. Like with Carmelo, they just railroaded him. That's why Ben Crump got in with Carmelo Anthony. And his first court appearance for his the recusal is coming up on the 20th and 21st, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, Ben Crump went to Georgia and he broke up that whole little cluster. Remember when those guys, they were saying that Aubrey, he was stealing out the house, and then they had pictures and there was video footage inside the house where he just went in the house and he was just looking, because they were building a house that was open, and then he was just looking at how they were building the house, because I believe he was interested in like, I guess, trying to build houses or something like that. But anyway, He just went in and he was looking and he was just like, oh, okay, this is, this, that. And then he left out and then he was running and then they came and then they were shooting at him and acting like he stole something. And he didn't do anything wrong. And then they were trying to cover it up. And then they got the neighbor that stole Christmas, the one that basically pretty much got all of them life in prison. He was trying to go over there and trying to be a part of the situation. And then next thing you know, his butt ends up in prison too for life. They try to cover that up. And Ben Crump, what did he do? He busted that. It was a whole busting up with that situation. All the judges, DAs, they were recusing themselves. They was dropping out, quitting, and all kind of crazy stuff. And this is the same thing with this. So Ben Crump, he knows what he's doing. He's very, very calculated. People are saying this and saying that about Ben Crump. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to say about Ben Crump until y'all are purple in the face. He is very calculated and he knows what he's doing. So we have to let this process work and let Ben do his job because he's onto something. But y'all, let's continue.
In obstruction of justice, one of the boys' mom or stepmom, and I think it's Warren, allegedly, one of the boys' mothers or stepmothers is a chancery court judge.
Yep. Hey, Alden.
Another one of the children's parents is allegedly tied to the FBI. So, Art, if their parents are tied up in the Mississippi state power structure, if these children's parents are tied up in the Mississippi state power structure, you know damn well Mississippi is not trying to find.
Yes, T Keeper, y'all know my saying. This is my saying that Ben Crump is reading them their rights. Ben Crump is reading them their rights and they are scared. They are scattering like cockroaches. They are scared because Ben Crump is on to their shenanigans. I mean, all of the evidence that he's probably gotten, all of the phone calls, all of the intel that he has gotten, of course, you never let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. You let them know a little bit, but you don't let them know all of it, right? So y'all, let's continue.
Any of those kids guilty of anything. You know that. Mississippi does not have a history of helping black people find justice against white people. That is not the history of Mississippi. It ain't the history of Arkansas. It ain't the history of Texas. It ain't the history of Louisiana. It ain't the history of South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, or none of those states. So why isn't Ben Crump and Al Sharpton calling for a federal investigation? That's number one.
The best gatherings are at stage.
I think personally, he feels like, because of who's up in the White House, them people, he's like the head of them, the Triple K. And he's probably doing everything in a calculated way to suit everything that he's trying to do. So I'm believing and trusting the process, y'all. Let's continue.
Island is federal land. Horns Island is federal land, Art. If Horns Island is federal land, Art, why are we not demanding that the feds do the investigation and not Sheriff Ledbetter? The island is federal land, Art. It's federal land. Why aren't the feds carrying out the investigation? That's the second reason they should be involved. The third reason they should be involved, Art, is there's a strong likelihood that this was a federal hate crime and a lynching. Very strong likelihood that this was Nolan Wells' death is very likely to have been a federal hate crime, and it is very likely to have been a federal lynching, meaning more than one person participated in the racially motivated crime. So I just gave you 3 reasons why the feds should be investigating this case and not the sheriff's office. Why is Ben Crump and Al Sharpton dragging their feet?
And let me say this, like I said, I think that Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, I'm not going to say dragging their feet. They're very calculated and they're trying to do everything that they need to do to get everything right. They're very, very to the point on what they're trying to do, because you can't just you can't just fall out and give everything, do everything. It has to be a calculated move. And y'all know Ben Crump, he's a beast. He's not Ben Crump just because he's Ben Crump. He's Ben Crump for a reason and a purpose. He's very calculated. He has this all the way down to a science. So he knows what he's doing. So we have to let the process work on Nolan's behalf for what Ben Crump is doing. So y'all, let's continue.
In Crump, you need to have a street march. You need to bring all of the black militia groups to Mississippi, and we need to march on Mississippi. Your approach to this investigation is too humble, it is too docile, it is too meek, it is too soft. You are dealing with Mississippi, and you have not activated any street protests. Sister Christine and Brother Nolan are not going to get justice, Art. Sister Christine and Brother Nolan Wells are not going to get justice.
Thank you, Uncle Alert, UNC. Thank you for the gift. Thank you.
This Art, if Benjamin Crump doesn't activate a street activism campaign, it is time for Ben Crump and Al Sharpton to activate a street activism campaign. And let me say this, Art. Al Sharpton is about to have another march on Washington. For what? For what? He's going to commemorate the Dr. King 1963 March on Washington. He's been doing it almost every year. But Art, it's an empty symbol. Al Sharpton, listen to me, sir. You don't need to march on D.C. We don't need another empty, meaningless, Democratic Party-sponsored march in Washington, D.C. We need you to switch that march, Art. Al Sharpton, if he cares about justice for black Mississippi, if Al Sharpton cares about justice for black Mississippi, Art, he will switch the march from D.C. to Mississippi. Al Sharpton needs to switch the march from Washington, D.C. to Mississippi. And it should be 4 days, Art. It should be 4 days, Art.
There, Umar for the next 3 times, he's saying they should have a 4-day march. Could y'all imagine having a 4-day march, y'all? I mean, that's a long time. Would it start from like maybe 8 to 6 o'clock every day, but not 4 days straight? That's a good question, y'all. Let's continue.
We should march in Senatobia, Mississippi one day for baby Cohen, who was shot and murdered by the police in the Walmart shopping lot.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
We got a march for baby Cohen, who was shot by the police in Senatobia. We have to march in Cleveland, Mississippi for our brother Trey Reed, who was unalived September 15th, 2020.
Yeah, I think it should be a march. I really think it should, because they are a lot. Did you guys know recently they had found I think it was her name Tasia and some other I think a boy and a black guy and a black girl who they found hung. So yeah, maybe they need to have one. Hey, Bougie Barbie says, why don't you do it, Umar? I know, right? I don't know, but I mean, we probably do need a march, you guys. Maybe so, and not just for black folks, but definitely for even people who stand with black folks, like Sam, Secret Service Sam, Kimberly. These are white people that are standing in with us, black people that are seeing the injustice and speaking up on our behalf. There's a lot of people. Even Nancy Grace has spoken up about this. So y'all, let's continue.
25. Hanging from a tree on Delta State University campus in Cleveland, Mississippi, September 15, 2025. So we need to march in Cleveland, Mississippi. We need to march in Senatobia, Mississippi. We need to march in Jackson, Mississippi, because what just happened in Jackson on Monday, Art? A black woman, 28, 29 years old.
Yeah.
Tasia Fortune was found hanging from a tree. Monday, Art, 4 days ago, a black woman was found hanging from a tree in Jackson, Mississippi. And check this out, Art. They said her corpse, her body, had been hanging from the tree for 3 to 4 days, Art.
Wow.
3 to 4 days, her body was hanging. It gets worse, Art. It gets worse. They said they had to use a ladder. They had to use a ladder to go up on the tree and get our sister Tasha down. And guess what the Mississippi State Medical Examiner ruled it, Art? Guess what she ruled it? The same thing she ruled Trey Reed's death as. Suicide.
Wow.
Let me ask you a question, Art. How many black people you know hang themselves from trees?
None.
I don't know no black person who has ever taken their life by hanging.
No black person that I know of either has hung themselves. That black folks don't hang themselves. No, they do not hang themselves. Somebody hung them. There's no way, it's just unheard of. No. I'm not believing that at all. Anonymous says, Nancy Grace, like a knick-knack, like a knick-knack, her hair ain't changed in 20 years, laughing out loud, summon, the Anonymous, she was a mess. Yeah, Nancy Grace has spoke out, y'all. I'm shocked that she spoke out on this Nolan Wells case, but Nancy Grace is even trying to get to the bottom of it, and she's calling cap. She's saying that this is BS because y'all know Nancy Grace, she was an attorney in Georgia, and I don't think she's ever even lost the case from her. What I heard, I don't know. I haven't researched this for myself, but they're saying Nancy Grace was a beast at being a lawyer, and she said she is not going for it. But y'all, let's continue.
Himself from a tree. In fact, it's almost impossible to hang yourself from a tree. In fact, black people have been hung from trees by white people for over 200 years. So you mean to tell me the very method that has been used to take our lives at the hands of white people, we are now taking the method ourselves, Art. We are now taking the method ourselves, Art, and we're going to hang ourselves with a noose the same way white people used to hang our ancestors.
It don't make
Who
sense.
does that make sense to?
Don't.
That don't make no damn sense. So
It don't make sense to me and nobody else that a person hanging from a tree went up there and allegedly wanted to, end their lives and hang themselves on a tree. Does that sound suspicious to y'all? It sounds suspicious to me, but y'all, let's continue.
now all of a sudden, when black people want to take their life, we're going to go outside, get a noose, and hang ourselves suspended from a tree. That's nonsense. And the Mississippi State Medical Examiner, Art, every time a black person is found hanging in Mississippi, she wants to rule it a suicide. You know why, Art? If you rule it a suicide, you don't have to investigate.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing, y'all. This is another big thing. Kimberly even has a page where if you go sign up to get the DA in Mississippi like booted off, but the DA in Mississippi was claiming that every person, like a lot of black person, I'm not saying every single person, but a lot of black people, she was ruling their deaths as drowning. Yeah, she was doing that, and they are upset. They are hotter than fish grease down there in Mississippi with that DA. She's doing what she wants to do because they all work together. Yes, they all work together.
If you rule it a suicide, you can close the case and you don't have to investigate. So Ben Crump and Al Sharpton need to turn up the heat under Sheriff Ledbetter's office. They need to turn up the heat under District Attorney Mulgraff's office because they are dragging their feet. They are not taking this investigation seriously. It is too quiet. We don't know anything. Sister Christine don't know anything after 30 days, and Ben Crump and Al Sharpton need to go to the streets. Since you like to march every year in Washington, D.C., Al Sharpton, why don't you bring your behind to Mississippi and march?
Oh, Umar said, Al Sharpton, you need to go ahead and have a march in Mississippi. I'm reading you your rights, Al Sharpton. Come down here. We need to have a march on Mississippi because these folks down here in Mississippi is tripping with no maps. These people are tripping with no maps, Al Sharpton. Why don't we have a march going on in Mississippi, y'all? Let's continue to listen, y'all.
We need to march in Senatobia. We need to march in Cleveland, Mississippi. We need to march in Jackson for Sister Tasia Fortune. And we need to march in Ocean Springs for Brother Nolan Wells. And check this out, Art. The Attorney General said they're going to keep the toxicology and the autopsy report under seal. They're going to keep the toxicology and the autopsy under seal or until the grand jury gets to see it. A grand jury is going to decide whether or not anybody is going to get charged with a crime, Art. And I have a big problem with that, Art. That's what happened with Carmelo Anthony. That's what happened with Carmelo Anthony. A grand jury proceeding is a relatively secret process, Art. You don't even know who's on the grand jury, Art. You don't even know who's a group of secret white people. A group of secret white people are going to decide if any of those 30 white kids on those 3 boats should be charged with a crime in the death of Nolan Wells. And we won't even know who they are, and we won't even know how they came to their decision, Art. We won't even know who the grand jury is, and we won't even know how the grand jury came to their decision. What is Ben Crump ready to do? What is Al Sharpton ready to do if the grand jury returns no indictments on anybody?
Oh, if there's no indictments, Umar, for next 3 times, it's gonna be some problem. It's going to be it's not gonna be pretty. So Mississippi, it behooves y'all to make sure that when y'all are at the grand jury, that y'all are doing the right thing. Because this didn't happen to Nolan just all of a sudden. It sounds like there is alleged, in my words, let the record reflect, my words and my words only. It sounds like there's something that happened. There was a criminal situation according to my thoughts and my opinions. So if y'all Mississippians at the grand jury come back and say that, oh no, it was, it was an accident. Yeah, maybe it was an accident. Yeah. But how did the accident happen? Because what you guys are doing and how y'all are acting is very, very suspicious in nature. But y'all, let's continue.
At all for the death of Nolan Wells. Will Benjamin Crump be ready to march then, Art? Will Al Sharpton be ready to march in Mississippi then? If the grand jury says this was an accidental drowning, case is closed, no indictments, what is Ben Crump and Al Sharpton going to do? Because right now, and I respect them both, Art, but right now, the way this case is being handled, they are too docile, they are too meek, they are too humble, and they are too soft. We need some street action. We need some street protests. We need some street marches. We need to raise up the temperature in Mississippi, Art. That's what we need to do. This is the state that unalived Medgar Evers. This is the state that lynched Emmett Till. This is the state that took the life of Baby Cohen. This is the state that lynched Tasia Fortune. This is the state that lynched Trey Reed. This is Mississippi, the state that tried to lynch Fannie Lou Hamer. The state that tried to lynch Ida B. Wells. When are we going to wake up and smell the coffee? Now let's get to the infamous call, Art, and I'm going to wrap this up. Let me get to the infamous call, and I'm going to wrap this up. They called the Cito company at 4 o'clock.
Okay, so let's take a little quick break because it's a commercial. So the Cito call, I believe, is what a lot of people are pinpointing to, which I know I am too, right? This is my, let the record reflect. This is my opinion. But this is what I'm thinking, that whenever that call for the Cito, it really brought about a lot of oh snap, Nolan was on that boat. Nolan was on that boat, and how we know Nolan was on the boat, because they were saying, damn it, Bart's dead. They were saying, wake the F up, Nolan. And a couple of other things that the enhanced boat tow call had on it. So y'all, let's continue to listen. This is getting crazy.
Audio engineer, our beautiful black sister, Jeanette Brantley, cleaned up. Sounds very suspicious, Art. It sounds like they may have been in the act of unaliving Nolan Wells when they made the call. It sounds like they may have been in the act of unaliving Nolan Wells when they made the call, Art. allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. And guess what, Art? That would make perfect sense. You want to know why? Because the call was bogus. Nothing was wrong with that shit. This is my allegations. This is my belief and my allegations, and I'm standing on it. Nothing was wrong with the boat, Art, and I'm going to explain to you how we know this. Nothing was wrong with that boat. They made that.
There was nothing wrong with the boat. Exactly. I agree with Umar, because if there was something wrong with the boat, when he called the sea tow and she said, do you want the Coast Guard? You know, she's trying to offer him help. But then another thing that was questionable is she said, how many people are breathing on the boat? Is she in on this? I mean, I don't know. It sounds suspicious to me, because why would you ask how many people are breathing on the boat? How many people are on the boat? How many people are breathing on the boat? That sounds a little bit like, almost like they knew what they were doing. They had the whole setup in play and everything. Because why are you calling the sea tow? They're asking, do you want the Coast Guards? He said, no. If I'm sinking in water, I want the everybody to come. I want anybody, if they got the helicopters, if they got some ambulance on the water, if they got the police that can, you know, drive on the water. I want everybody to come and save me from drowning. But he told them no. He told them people no. And then the back, you know, the voices in the back, they back there panicking. Damn it, Bart. Nolan's dead. Nolan, wake the F up. That's very suspicious to me. But y'all, let's continue.
Paul, because they needed an alibi, Art. They needed an alibi. So if Nolan's body was found, Art, if they were able to determine the time of death, when Nolan's body was found, and if they were able to determine the time of death, they say, wait a minute, Nolan was unalived at 4 o'clock. Guess what, Art? They can say our boat was sinking at 4 o'clock, and we was on the phone with Cito. The phone call was an alibi, Art.
Absolutely.
The phone call was a decoy.
I think so
The phone
too.
call was a bait and switch. There was nothing wrong with that boat, Art.
Yep.
So listen.
Because if something was wrong with that boat, y'all, if something was wrong with the boat, you would have been hollering, crying, and slinging snot for somebody to come rescue you. In 31 feet of water, then he said he was in, oh no, we're in 17 feet of water. I don't care if you was in 5 feet of water and the boat is sinking, you would want somebody to come and help you. So that was just, I believe that was a setup and a part of the play to try to have an alibi. That's just my opinion, y'all.
We know that Mississippi is going to find all the audio engineers they can find, Art. We know that Mississippi is going to find all the audio engineers that they can find, Art, to try to say that the background noise cannot be corroborated or verified. You know they're going to say that.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
they're
yeah.
going to say we can't use the background noise. There's too much going on. We don't care what Sister Jeanette Brantley had to say. We don't care what y'all conspiracy theorists got to say. We had our own FBI audio engineers listen to it, and they can't make out the conversation. I believe it says what Sister Jeanette Brantley says it says. I believe it, Art. It makes perfect sense. They called at the time that they were unaliving him to have an alibi and an excuse. But guess what, Art? Even if they throw out the background noise, I believe we still have probable cause to arrest all 30 of those white kids. And I'm going to tell you why, Art. Let's listen to the conversation, Art. Let's listen to the conversation. He calls the operator on Cito. The operator says, how can I help you? And I'm paraphrasing. He says, our boat is sinking and we need a tow. She says, how much water are you in? He says, we're in 17 feet of water.
Yep.
No. We in 31 feet of water. Art, there's a big difference between 17 and 31. There's a big difference between 17 and 31. Why don't you know if you are in roughly 17 feet of water? And why don't you know if you are in roughly 31 feet of water? You are on the boat all the time. This is what they do, Art.
Exactly.
They boat all the time. They go to Horn Island all the time. Why don't you know if you're in 17 foot of water or 31 foot of water?
Yep.
31 foot of water. Well, Art, it gets better than this, Art. It gets better. The Cito operator, Art, says, do you want me to call the Coast Guard? Do you want me to call the Coast Guard? Guess what he said? We don't need the Coast Guard. Art, if your boat is sinking, do you care who comes to rescue you?
That's what I'm talking about. I don't care if it's the 911, the police, the ambulance, a helicopter. I don't care who it is. Just please come and rescue me. For him to deny that is very suspicious. If your boat is sinking and you call, that's like you calling 911 at your house. And you saying somebody's breaking in and they're breaking in, but they're saying, do you want us to send a police officer out? You said no. What do you mean no? Well, if you get unalive, then, we're trying to go and help you. But you're saying, no, you don't want no help. That is strange. But y'all, let's continue.
If your boat is sinking, if I'm sinking in 31 feet of water, you can call the Coast Guard, you can call the aliens, you can call the snowboarding boat, you can call...
Omar said you can call a snow bunny boat. Oh my God. Is that breaking news? Omar said you can call the snow bunny boat. He said you can call the aliens. I'm with him. It doesn't matter who comes. He's basically saying it doesn't matter who comes. Even the snow bunnies. And y'all know Umar for that 3 times don't like them snow bunnies. But he said you can call the snow bunnies. Umar is allowing the snow bunnies to come and save him. Y'all, that's breaking news in itself. If y'all don't know about Umar for this 3 times, but the ones who do, Black Anonymous, Bougie Barbie, all of my mods, Anonymous, y'all, I'm telling you, he said you can call the snow bunnies too. So y'all, let's continue.
Whatever you want to call if my boat is sinking. He told the operator, we don't need the Coast Guard. Who does that, Art? Who says we don't need the Coast Guard if we sink it? So she says, okay. She says, how many adults are on the boat? Pay attention to this, Art. We caught him in another lie. Listen to this. She says, how many adults are on the boat? He said, quote, there are no adults on the boat. He lied, Art. Second lie. First lie, he said, Nolan said, I'm staying behind to hang out with Katie. Y'all can leave me. Katie said Nolan told her, I'm headed back to the boat because my friend's about to leave. That was lie number 1. Mm-hmm. That was lie number 1. You lied and said Nolan said he was going to stay behind with Katie. That was a lie. Lie number 2. The Cito operator asked you, how many adults are on the boat? He said there are no adults on the boat, Art. Why did he lie? Why did he lie? She said, how many people on the boat? He said, everybody on the boat is under 21. Art, she said, that was not my question. Art, she begged him to tell her how many people are on the boat. She said, that's not my question. How many people are on the boat?
Yep.
She said, is anybody breathing on the boat?
Yep.
He said, a lot of people breathing on the boat. She said, is there anybody living on the boat? He said, yes, people are alive on the boat. Art, I would like to investigate her. She didn't do no crime. I want to know what made that operator say, is anybody breathing on the boat?
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird.
Say, is anybody alive on the boat, Art? What did she hear in the background?
Yes.
What did that operator hear in the background to make her ask him, is anybody breathing on the boat?
Bougie Barbie and Black Anonymous, y'all, it's hilarious. Black Anonymous says Umar wishes a snow bunny would come and rescue him. He said that he gave the snow bunnies a pass on this situation, y'all. He gave the snow bunnies a pass. He said the snow bunnies can come and rescue him if he's out there on the boat. What? This is breaking news, y'all. Let's continue, y'all.
That don't sound like a regular question. And then she said, is anybody living on the boat? It's almost like she could feel something was going on. I would love to know if those were standard questions, Art. I would love to know if those were standard questions or if she had a hunch that something fishy was going on. Now check this out, Art. She asked him a 3rd or 4th time. He would not answer the question, Art. He would not answer the question. How many people are on the boat? Guess what he said, Art? Like 7.
Yep.
Like 7. Art, the boat only holds 8. They went out there that morning with 8. 7 Caucasians in Nolan. 7 Caucasians in Nolan. Art, they left with 7, right? When she said how many people on the boat are, why did he say like 7? Why didn't he say 7? It's only 7 people. Why couldn't he say 7? Why did he say like 7? You know why he said like 7, Art? Because he didn't know if Nolan was still alive or not.
I agree.
He didn't know if Nolan was still alive.
I agree with him when he says that too. He didn't know if Nolan was living. So is it a 6 or is it a 7 or is it he was unsure. He was unsure. So y'all, let's continue.
So let me say like 7 in case he survives. Because Art, if you call me up and say, Dr. Umar, how many people at the basketball game? I can't count them all. Art, I'm gonna say like 100. It's like 100. Because I don't know. It could be a little less than 100. It could be a little more than 100. I'm gonna say it's like 100. But Art, if there's only 7 people on the boat, I don't need to say like 7. I can just say 7. He didn't want to give her a direct answer. Why didn't he want to give her a direct answer, Art? Because he knows it should have been 8 people on that boat. He knows it should have been 8 people on that boat. So he said like 7 because he didn't want to say 7 so nobody can ask him where the hell was Nolan. Nolan's life was taken between 3:30 and 4:30, and they know exactly how and who. They know exactly how and who are. And they took the phone and the keys to get rid of any evidence. They took the phone and the keys to get rid of any evidence. And if Sister Christine and Sister Tashima, they go to that girl's house to get that phone, they would have discarded it, Art. They were going to discard the keys in the phone and act like they never even had them.
Yeah, I do believe that too. I do believe that. I believe that if they did not go get that phone, they would have probably tried to clean it up and then try to toss it and throw it somewhere. I mean, throw it in it's crazy because I don't know. Like when did they get his keys? Maybe when, of course, the thing, I don't know. But I do believe they would have tossed that phone. But y'all, let's continue.
Yeah. Now I'm going to give you this one piece, Art, and I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to give you this one piece, Art, and I'm going to leave it alone. As I said, I'm very disappointed in the fact that Sheriff Ledbetter and District Attorney Morath are not investigating all 30 of those children. I'm disappointed that all 3 boats were not treated like a crime scene. Now, my primary theory, they unalived him on the boat, threw him over to make it look like a drowning.
Yep,
They
I agree.
unalived him on the boat or on land before they took off, threw him in the water to make it look like a drowning. But I'm gonna say this to you, Art. I have another theory as well. I got 2 theories. This is my first theory. Let me give you my second theory and we're done with this. There's a strong chance, Art, that after they unalived Nolan, they held on to the body overnight.
Yep, I think so.
And dumped it the next day, Art.
I think so too, you guys. And what are y'all opinion and thoughts on that? I think they did do that. I think they unalived him. They kept his body because remember they said that boat pulled up, I think, to the mother's house or stepmother's house or somebody's house. And then they said they went and they were cleaning the boat out. So I think they went and dumped his body, throwed him in the water. So like the next morning, I think they did it probably about 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. They did it sometime. I don't know when. This is my suspicions and my opinion. Let the record reflect that they pulled the body and dumped it and then took the boat to go get it clean so they can get rid of all the evidence. Just my opinion.
Or they took the body to one of the other islands around Horn Island and dumped the body. And let me tell you why I believe this part. Let's go back to Emmett Till. Let's go to Emmett Till, Art. Emmett Till was unalived on August 28th. They barbed wired Emmett Till to a 75-pound
ATY.
1955. August 28th, 1955, Emmett Till was unalived, and they barbed wired him to a 75-pound cotton gin and threw him in the Tallahatchie River. The Tallahatchie River, Art, is a freshwater river. Horn Island is on the Gulf of Mexico. It's salt water. Salt water is rougher and more active and more buoyant than freshwater, Art. Follow me on this. Emmett Till got thrown in the Tallahatchie, barbed wire to a 75-pound cotton gin art, and his body made it up to the surface on August the 31st. Even though he was tied to a 75-pound cotton gin in a river, his body floated up to the surface in 3 days, Art. Emmett Till was 14. Nolan Wells is 18. If Nolan Wells was unalive and dumped immediately on July 4th, Art, we should have saw his body on July 5th.
Wow. So, if you guys, let me pause that. If you guys don't know, he's saying art because that's art. He's on Art of Dialogue. So if you guys weren't with me at the beginning of my live, he's on, Umar is on Art of Dialogue, and shout out to Art of Dialogue. He went and he gave his synopsis, his summary of what he thinks happened to Nolan Wells during this situation. That's why he probably took a long time to respond, because he hasn't responded or said anything about Nolan Wells' situation at all. This is the first time Umar has spoken up about Nolan Wells' situation. So he is giving a great breakdown. He is given a really, really great breakdown, because, like I said, it's a lot of questions that a lot of people have on different parts of the story that these boys told. So y'all, let's continue.
Tied in 3 days, tied to a cotton gin art. Why did Nolan Wells' body only surface the morning of July 6th? I think there is a strong possibility they held onto his body art because they were afraid that if they dumped it immediately, it would surface too soon. If they dumped Nolan's body too soon, it would have surfaced before they were ready. That body could have floated back, Art, before they made it back home. They all go to jail. They could have held onto his body, Art, and dumped it on July 5th or dumped it the morning of July 6th. Because according to science, Art, Nolan's body should not have surfaced for 3 days. Or, according to what happened to Emmett Till, it should have surfaced within a day. The fact that it took Nolan Wells' body 41 hours before we saw it, I think that body might have gotten dumped, Art. I think they might have held onto Nolan Wells' body and dumped it a day or two later. And that's why the other 2 boats are important to the investigation, Art. How do we know Nolan wasn't unalived on one boat and held on the second boat? How do we know that? How do we know a second boat didn't take Nolan Wells' corpse to one of them other islands and then the body floated back, Art? Why are we not investigating all 3 boats and all 30 white children? Art,
I agree.
Like this.
I agree.
For that boy to not tell that CETO operator how many people was on that boat, and she asked him 3 times, and the fact he lied and said there was no adults, and then he still didn't answer her question and said everybody under 21, and she had to repeatedly say that was not my question. Why are you unwilling to tell her it's only 7 people and not 8 people?
And you guys, I agree. When you go out, because when you go out on the water and you're like the captain of the boat, you should know exactly how many people are on the boat. If there's 5 of y'all, okay, it's 5 of us, right? Let's go. Okay. All right, don't worry about it. Yeah.
I told you, fool. That's my boy.
You're best. But y'all, yeah, so let's continue listening to Umar.
Thing I'm gonna say, Art. Shout out to Tyler Perry, Terrell Owens, Colin Kaepernick for helping to pay for the funerals, autopsy, as well as reward money for information leading to an arrest. But guess what, Art? That reward money needs to be more than $175,000. Mississippi is the poorest state in America. 1 in 4 people live in poverty. We need that reward money, Art, to go up to $1 million. I need LeBron James, Rihanna, Tiger Woods, Venus, Serena, Kanye. Get that reward money up to $1 million, Art. We need the reward money up to $1 million so those white folks will start talking. $175,000, Art, is not enough money. We need $1 million. Guess how they found the 3 civil rights workers in Philadelphia, Mississippi in 1964? Remember the Ku Klux Klan murdered those 3 workers? Cheney, Goodman, and Swerner, Mississippi burning? Mississippi burning? Guess how they found out? An undercover FBI agent tipped off the FBI to where those 3 bodies were buried. Do the FBI have any undercover officers operating in this case? Does the state of Mississippi Bureau of Investigation have any undercover officers operating in this case? We need some undercover agents to weave into the lives of these young people and find out exactly what happened to Nolan Wells. And that's why Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton need to demand a federal takeover of this investigation immediately.
Wow. All right. Well, that's said and done with Umar for next 3 times, y'all. But I do want to let you guys know, guess what? Me, the lounge, of course, if you guys don't know, I'm about to tell y'all. So they got me on the to sue list. They said they are suing me and my Jerry curls, y'all. See, the Jerry curls had to come out because they said they're not scared either. They said, put us out there on Front Street. Put us out there on Front Street, the lounge. I'm not scared of them either. So we put the Jerry curl on Front Street because they said they coming for me and my Jerry curls. So y'all, let's listen to this because I'm telling you, they thought we were scared, but we not scared, y'all. We not scared. Hey, hey, hey. We not scared. We not scared. Hey. Y'all see, I'm number 1. Hey. I thought it was hey. Look, don't threaten me with a good time, y'all. Y'all think I'm scared? Y'all are sadly mistaken, y'all. Y'all don't want to be messing with me because I will unleash the beast, okay? I will let you know where to go and how to get there. Yeah, I'm not scared. You just like you can sue us, we can sue you back. And there's a whole lot of us on this list. And then there's other people too. They tried to sue Ben Crump. They said Nancy Grace, Willie D, all of us. We not scared. Y'all think we scared? No, get somebody else to do it. That me, the lounge, is on the to sue this from the family from the church of the Lord. And Kimberly, let's switch places. I'm number 1 on the list. You're number 73 on the list. Do you want to go first in reading these people their rights, or did you want me to go first on reading these people their rights? I mean, either way it goes, it's going to be really detrimental. But y'all, we made it on the to sue list. But y'all, I mean, are they trying to threaten me with a good time? Because I've been trying to be nice. I'm trying not to be disrespectful to the people in Mississippi. See, we not trying to be disrespectful. But if they want us to get disrespectful, I mean, we really can, but I be trying to, hold my tongue, react off the good manners and the things that I was taught, I was properly trained, I got home training like a lot of these people don't have, I mean, this is not my problem. But what they won't do is they won't try to, what they ain't gonna do is they ain't gonna try to silence me because I'm trying to get answers as to why and how Nolan Wells is no longer here. What happened? Why did this happen? Y'all not gonna try to silence me? Y'all get somebody else to do it. Are y'all silencing the one that got arrested at Carmelo Anthony's trial? And he was over there having a whole N walk, N with the hard R walk. Y'all let him say and do whatever he wants to do. So guess what? Birds of a feather, they flock together over there. But guess what? If you can't beat them, you just got to join them, right? Okay? Yeah, that part. So y'all, I am going to conclude this alive. Thank everybody for coming in. If y'all are on the replay gang, just please like, share, and subscribe. And y'all, we're going to continue to keep our foot on them people's neck in Mississippi to find out what happened to Nolan Wells. Justice for Nolan Wells and also Carmelo Anthony, his The recusal court date is coming up on the 21st and 22nd, I believe, or on the 19th and 20th, just here shortly and very soon, like the next few weeks. So y'all, let me know what y'all thoughts are. Leave a comment in the comment box. Do y'all think this could be possibly an accident? Is this a Alex Murdaugh 2.0, like Queen has basically kind of came up and like thought about and, you know, provided the receipts? Maybe it is. Was it an accident boating, or was it a situation where they got into a fight and then, you know, everything broke and then it turned into an accident after that? I don't know, but y'all please let me know. Lead with love, peace, and tranquility. As I always say, like, share, and subscribe. And y'all, I will see y'all in the next live, and we're gonna continue to talk about Nolan Wells to keep his name and his case in the light, y'all. So see you guys. Bye-bye.